bum 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 bum. I believe we are live now. Let's find out. Nope, that's somebody else's video. Get out of my way. Let me make sure that I am live, 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 live. Live from New York, it's DM Roundtable. Good times. All right. YouTube is up and running. So next up is Twitch. Boop. Let's double check and make sure that Twitch is up and running as well. Yes, I know I'm live. Can you open it, please? I'm begging you. I think we are now good to go. Everything appears to be running. I will, tonight, since this is show and tell, I have some physical stuff to show off, so I'll be changing to camera screen at some point. I realized a little bit earlier that one of the things I could have done is also tested the multicam setup on this computer, but I didn't have time to check that today, which is kind of a bummer. That would have been cool to see if it runs on this computer as well as the other computer. But sorry about that. So we'll have to make do, but it's fine because the camera that's on this computer is pretty darn good all by itself. This is our first episode of Show and Tell, so I'm hoping things will go great. Unfortunately, I do have what DM Lacara wanted to share, but I'm not going to share it for her. She is unfortunately without power. And we're not gonna steal her thunder. When she has a chance to, she will share with the rest of you stuff that she wanted to share. I still actually don't even know what DM Shin is going to share. You might be like, why do you have the page open to the Spellplague? Don't you worry, that's just my jumping off point. I'm also vehemently hoping that I do not lose power at some point because the wind is still whipping around. We have a wind advisory. We've got like 40-mile-per-hour winds right now. And I'm not exactly excited about it. We did have one brownout, or I at least had one brownout last night. Obviously, DM Lacara is not geographically that close to me and DM Shin. Me and DM Shin are also at least an hour apart, but DM Lacara is further away. She has no power. I got a brownout last night. I'm hoping we don't get another brownout. But with my luck, we'll get another brownout in the middle of the stream with my luck. Let's be honest. We know that's what's going to happen. DM Shin is in fact on his way, but in the meantime, I'm going to hit the 2 add buttons just so we can get that out of the way and OBS doesn't bother me during the stream. For those of you who have ad blockers on or whatever, hello, I didn't go anywhere. Don't worry, I use ad blockers too. I just don't like when OBS is like, hey, you should put an ad in there. Hey, because I know through the VODs, because I'm watching a lot of other people's VODs lately, that once it's a VOD, man, YouTube is just going to be like, here's an ad, 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 here's an ad. So what does it matter whether or not I hit the ad button? Why are you bothering me? What do you want? Oh, God.
What's going on?
I'm pretty sure via watching the mic input that you can't hear the wind, but the wind is legitimately howling outside my window. It's not the Spellplague. Don't you worry. I'm excited. There's so much happening in my campaign because this is show and tell time. I'm like, I have so many things to talk about. But most of the stuff, actually all the stuff I'll be talking about today, is not about the future of my campaign because I may have some players that tune into these. Wink. I also may have some. I leaned in as if I was getting closer to the camera so I could like whisper this. I have recently been informed that one of the people who was supposed to play in my campaign, one of the first 3 people, so at the beginning it was Grimjack, Piano Knox, and Jack DT. They're the 3 people I first made characters with when we decided we were going to play. And Knox has never had a chance to play still. But the other day he was like, "Oh, I watch your DM Roundtables every week whenever I get a chance. Like it's a good thing to keep on in the background." And I'm like, does that mean you may join us at one point? Yes, please. Please. I would love that. So I'm hoping at some point, Knox, you do get to join us because your character's already made. We just gotta presumably level them up a bit because I don't think you want to join the campaign at level 1 when everyone else is 7 and 8. Yeah, my players are not all the same level. Some of them join the campaign a little bit later than the others, but stuff has happened where they've been separated, so some of them have more XP than the others. And I'm one of those DMs where, like, if you role play, okay, hear me out. This isn't a show and tell thing, but I'm all for giving XP for combat and social encounters when you do them really well, and solving puzzles. I'm not big on, I'm just going to give you XP for talking. Like, nah. So I have a lot of that going on in my campaign where my players are like, I talk to a person from my backstory. Give me XP. And I'll be like, nah, that's not how it works. No, that's not how it works. But yeah, some of my players, there's a bit of separation in levels between my players. We originally said way back in the day that should one character die or you want to swap out a character, I would be okay. What we came to as an agreement was you can join the campaign either at the same level as the other players, or you can be 3 levels ahead or below them. However, as we've gone on to play, I think they already knew it would be harder to join as a higher level than the rest of the group, but like I'm putting on a, hey, you're probably not going to be higher level than the rest of the group, okay? Unless you have some reason for your character to be famous. But like that 2 or 3 levels behind. I might even shrink it down to just 2 rather than 3. I think is good if you still join at that same thing. Like you can join at level 1 if you want. But while yes, you'll probably level up faster, it won't be like Borderlands. There's no inherent mechanic in 5e to get everyone to the same level. Like Borderlands adjusts XP if you're playing in a party to catch you up to where the other people are. There's nothing quite like that. You will level up faster than you would normally because you're fighting much stronger enemies. So there's more XP, there's more things to do, comparatively speaking. But you could join, but it would be incredibly difficult because you'd probably be getting dropped all the time by most of the enemies. Hey, Awas. How are you? Do you also have crazy winds wherever you are? Is your wind howling? As if in response, the shutters outside my house went clap, clap, clap. Where gonna do show and tell today. There will actually be a show portion, at least on my end. I had this talk with, unfortunately, DM Lacara won't be joining us. It has been a fucking a windy. DM Lacara won't be joining us. She does not have power, which sucks. I've only had a brownout so far, and I'm hoping that we don't get a brownout while I'm streaming. But I feel like with my luck, we will get a brownout while I'm streaming. DM Shin is so far a-okay. I actually don't know what he's planning on showing off, so I'm excited for that. But mine, I'm just gonna do some simple stuff, show off some other stuff. And by show off, I mean like physically show you. I'm not gonna be like, ha, I'm the best arts and crafts person in the world, because we all know that cannot possibly be true. I'm gonna give DM Shin a minute or two to come join me. Also, shout out to Nox, who may join us at some point. Actually, I'm going to have something specific about that too. Not necessarily him, because he literally already made a character. But oh no. Oh no. What up, DM Shin?
What is going on?
Not much, you.
You know, living the dream, talking about D&D on a Monday night, the round
Yeah.
table.
This
Also, I
is
had
the
to work
dream.
today, so I was sad.
Oh, I never asked you. I didn't even think of that. I asked our former employee friends if they had off, and they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay. Weird, but okay.
Yeah, they got off. They got off the. They have days off now,
Crazy.
which
Okay.
doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me that that place is looking for ways to not pay people. That's besides. I digress.
I'll be looking.
No, I had to work today. Uh, Unfortunately, I had to work today, and it was the unfortunate sacrifice for my team that had to be online today. The rest of them were off. My whole
Oh,
company was off. I and 5 other employees worked today, I should say.
that's disgusting.
Yeah, they're like, you get another day off that you get to choose, and I'm like, yeah, but I have to now figure out when I want a 3-day weekend.
Oh, so they're making
And
you work today, but they give you a free day later?
yeah, but now it's a
Interesting.
question of okay, so when do I use it? Because
Yeah.
my soul wants to use it like tomorrow. Like my instinct is just like, so I can just not show up tomorrow, right? Like that'll count because I did everybody else's job today.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh God. I'm glad there's no smell-o-vision. I put on.
Oh
I
no,
have.
we can't we can't bring that back. Not in 2025.
I
The
have
odors.
the quintessential like rubber gloves for doing housework, and I just took out a new pair, and every time I lift
Dexter's
my
mom's
hands,
glove.
I just smell it. Yeah, and I'm just like, ugh, ugh, ugh.
Are you wearing shorts to say Dad's trophy?
Not yet. Oh, that's good.
Because I just want you to know that Dexter's mom activated a lot of things for a lot of people. Okay.
So, tonight for show and tell, my first question is, do you want to go first? Because I have no idea
Oh,
what you've got prepared.
oh, oh! Do I want to go first? I no. I kind of want to see what you have. I have 3 things that I have lined up. One of them, I was going to potentially reveal a fourth, you know what the fourth is, but I don't think I'm ready to debut that. So
Okay.
I don't think I'm ready. It's not in its completed form, so I don't know how you would feel looking at a test draft, a draft of something on this round table. So that'd be a question better left for you.
I mean, is anything ever really complete?
This is also true. It is D&D.
We're both the kind of DMs who just like wake up in the middle of the night and we're like, I can add this to the world.
It's not even the middle of the night. It's like in the middle of another thought.
If
I'll be sitting at a diner like eating breakfast, talking about like the weather, and then all of a sudden be like, weather. What if I have fluctuating weather conditions that affected the spell patterns that everybody can cast in my ooh, hold on, I gotta be right back. And then all of a sudden I've written like a 7-page manifesto on how weather options should affect spell casting in your tabletop RPGs.
Ooh, oh, I love that. I still have a note written down on my paper notes that's like convert avatar role playing game dice into weather dice. At some point, I'm gonna do that.
The legendary weather dice.
All right. I guess that means I'm gonna start because DM Lacara is without power, and I shared that, and I said we're not gonna steal her thunder. I know what she wanted to share, but we're gonna leave that for her to share when we come to the next show and tell episode.
Hell yeah.
I'm not gonna
Also,
steal her
don't worry,
thunder.
DM Lacar. We will do our best. And if you also miss DM Lacar, folks, just so you know, you can go and channel all of her essence by checking out the Redbubble shop and checking out all the cool designs that she's made. You
That's
know,
very true.
meanless, meanless shilling that I do on both comics.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right.
Gotcha.
So, everything that I'm going to share tonight is roughly based on the concept of the Spellplague. So when I boot up the stream, I was like, I'm sure some of you were like, I thought this was show and tell. Why do you have the page for the Spellplague open? Well, oh my God, that zoomed in way too far. Nope. Okay, that's better. Now it's readable. Whoa!
You're like, what did I just do?
Also, apparently, the Forgotten Realms wiki specifically is publishing a cookbook, which is kind of cool. I didn't realize the wiki had like its own group of people. Like I that would be making a cookbook, that kind of thing. Well, they're calling it a sauce book, which, mwah, good for you guys.
Ah, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
But for those of you who don't use the Forgotten Realms as your campaign setting, though supposedly this happened in all of Realm Space, so every world should have technically been, every world that had Mystra as the mistress of magic, as the goddess of magic, should have been affected by this, but really we only care about it in the Forgotten Realm, so on a bear and Toriel. What happened was some other gods were like, I'm gonna kill Mystra. I'm gonna take her powers. I'm gonna kill her real good. It's gonna be great. The only problem with this is that if you kill a god on their home plane, you destroy them. If you kill them on not their home plane, they'll just reform on their home plane. The problem with most of the gods that are from, like, say, the beginning or very close to the beginning is that they're actually not the same entity anymore. So they accidentally killed Mystra on her home plane because it was just someone who got the title. It wasn't the original Mystra. And they ruined magic. The weave fell apart without her. The Shadow Weave also collapsed, but the Shadow Weave is like sorta in a weird canonical, non-canonical space. It's supposed to be where all the dark magic comes from, but Yeah. Whatever, we don't need to worry about that. Essentially, there was 100 years where magic just didn't work in the Forgotten Realms. And when Mystra died, blue fire shot up everywhere. Now, green flame, like Green Flame Blade, the spell, is supposed to be spell fire, and only certain wizards and other spellcasters can use it, but it is magic fire. Blue fire is like weird corrupted magic. So Spellplague happening, like entire swaths of land caught fire, obliterated. Sometimes suffering the effects of anti-magic, sometimes suffering the effects of wild magic or some combination thereof. And we don't need to go any further into detail besides the anti-magic and wild magic together, because one of the problems that arose from the Spellplague is that if you were affected by these blue flames, there was a chance you became plague changed, which is when something absolutely horrible happens to you. And in most cases, I don't know how familiar most of you are with the Wild Card series, which is a mosaic novel series that George R.R. Martin edits. But basically, there's people who get superpowers. An alien race decided to test a biological weapon on not necessarily America. They brought it to the planet Earth, and it wasn't supposed to go off. They decided against it, but it went off anyway. And all these people get these powers. And it's called wild cards because they designate their powers based on cards in a deck. So like jokers are people who are wildly deformed or have real crappy powers. And then you have deuces, who people with like meh powers. And then there's aces who get a real superpower. And if you're a Spellscar, you're an ace or a deuce, where like you have a new ability. It might not be amazing, but you have a new ability. If you are plague changed, though, you probably have some horrible deformity like a Joker. Or you're stuck in a new form that you did not have before. And my guys are all Spellscars. They all have some new ability. I'm going to take you to the page for Spellscars specifically because there's only two things you really need to know about Spellscars. For the most part, a Spellscar somewhere on their body has some almost tattoo-looking thing that sometimes glows or burns of blue flame. Like it's like they look like they have a fire tattoo somewhere on their body or a burn mark. And for the most part, you get a power associated with it that either has something to do with fire. Exactly, that is exactly what it is. George R.R. Martin presents Forgotten Realms X-Men. Yes, that is exactly what it is.
Okay, that's a little too on the nose. Like, kudos.
That was good.
Touche. That was good. Touche. It was. Touche.
So you get, if you're a Spellscar, you get a power, generally speaking, it does one of two things. It has something to do with fire, or it has something to do with warping the reality around you. So there have been other people who are like, yo, we got to get all these dudes together. We can use them. These could be our weapons of war. It could be great. A lot of people, though, didn't get Spellscarred or Plague Changed. They just literally burnt up in the blue fire. But we're not here to talk about the sad part. Or they go crazy because it's just pure magic, like invading your brain. There is a thing where there are plague lands now, somewhere in places of Abir and Toril, where like there's still blue fire burning, and sometimes people make a pilgrimage to them to be like, I want the superpowers. And sometimes they get a superpower, and sometimes they just die. But it is possible, if you weren't active during the Spellplague, to still get a Spellscar. And I have a couple in my campaign that are homebrew characters that I
Okay.
gave Spellscars to. Sometimes you have a magic weenie roast. It's true. You guys actually got a sneak peek at one of them last week because the stat block that popped up in my stat block generator was one of the characters that I have in my campaign that has a Spellscar. And hers is that her reality warp that we gave her, her Spellscars tattoo is on, it's basically a tramp stamp, a blue fire tramp stamp. Um, and her character in campaign is DM Bacon's character's paramour, and his fiance played her once or twice. She was already there. She's like, I might as well take the character that his character's with anyway. It makes the most sense. So technically, it is her PC now, but it's also not a PC. So take from that what you will. Anyway, her character is the first Spellscar that you guys saw here that I've got, and her ability is that she can absorb magic. However, the way her reality warp is interpreted is anything that comes at her that isn't bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing, she can absorb. And then she can rechannel it through her fists. Gribjack's always like, oh, I need her to be able to shoot it from her eyes or breathe it out. And I'm like, you need training for that. Be happy that she's gotten this far. Because you don't just understand how your Spellscar works. You gotta train to make it work.
There's also a certain level, I think, of growth your character has to undergo for story's sake to make to like truly make a new spell or a new ability stick, I think.
So right now, as I mentioned before, all of my everything that I put in the game that is something that my players may have to use at some point is exceptionally wordy because I have to close all the loopholes that they're going to try to find to exploit it. And what we came up with was, for the most part, when you're a Spellscar, you can overload whatever your power is. There's a chance that whatever you're good at, your magical ability, can be overloaded. So through her training, this character, Annabelle Larkin, can only absorb up to 20 damage of something that isn't bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing. And then she can re-deal it through her fists. If it goes beyond that, she'll probably start taking damage and it's going to hurt. And that's going to be a theme that I run, but I think most people should run if you're giving people Spellscar abilities. There should be some limit to how far they can go, especially if they have no training. But I'm going to switch over to the camera because I have a little mini for Annabelle Larkin. Oh, it's not gonna... Come on, you can focus. I believe in you. Now, when I make minis for campaigns and stuff, I use anything and everything. I don't care if, like, the mini style doesn't fit with the other mini style if it fits the character. I know a lot of people are against this, but, like, Annabelle Larkin happens to be a paper mage mini. And then she has a sticky foam, because they are technically for children. And they don't use the word adhesive, but a sticky foam bottom that I just stick her on, and that keeps her up all the time. I will tell you more about those as I go through the rest of the characters. But I don't care where my minis come from as long as they work. Like, this is from Dungeon Craft. It is just a flat mini. This will be for another character we're going to get into in a minute. But this is their mount. It's flat. I don't care. And then I use skinny minis at the same time. This is from the same... Come on, you can zoom in. I believe in you.
It can't.
Come on, camera. You got this. There's another character in that same group. And I'll even use stuff that I've 3D printed. I don't care. As long as it fits the character, it's fine by me. Whatever. Yeah. Spellscars.
That is the beauty.
You can do whatever you want. Spellscars. I'm into them. We have Annabelle, whose Spellscar ability is Magic Absorption. Shwump. And then, since I'm already talking, well, I did pick up Desoiler first. There are
I was gonna
within.
say,
Hmm.
I was gonna say, Desoiler. That the name sparks up my interest in.
So, even before 5.5e and they decided to change orcs and take away their aggressive traits and stuff, there was already a whole tribe of orcs that was like, yo, I don't think we need to war anymore. Why don't we make some peace? Like, we can join people in war, but we can just chill. And it just so happens that canonically, that group actually has a lot of Spellscars within their hierarchy. And so what I needed to do at one point was we had some orcs, and I was trying to teach my players that like not all orcs are evil, because like I don't need a book to tell me that not every orc is here to rip your head off and like dance in your blood. You could just say not every orc is here to rip your head off and dance and dance in your blood. Like do whatever you want. It's your world now. I don't you didn't have to say that they all lose their aggressive trait. I'm sure there's still some aggressive ones.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the way it is.
I I will say that in the case of orcs, at least, any race from goblin, any monstrous race
Mm-hmm.
that can establish community can be non-hostile.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just my personal rule of thumb for a campaign. If it can establish a community, a hierarchy, some kind of social class and social structure, quite honestly, it's possible to run into these things non-hostile. And I kind of hint to that at my players in the beginning of a campaign and never mention it again
Yeah.
until they've. I have had a party that though has tried to attack everything they thought was hostile and had
Hmm.
a number of NPCs be like, "Buddy, we're not gonna." I think the best example is I introduced a snake person race, the Nagas, if you
Mm-hmm.
know fantasy lore, and they got to this, swamp village. It was kind of hidden in this weird like crevice that had like sunken in. It was very swampy, and they found a city of Nagas. It was like a city that had sunk, and everyone there had become a Naga. And so immediately upon entering the city, they're like, "Oh, hey, welcome to our city. Oh my goodness, humans found us, everything." And my players just go, "I want to roll initiative," and I'm like, "For what?" They're like, "Well, we have to fight this thing, right?" And I'm like, "Is that what you guys want to do?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, it's a monster. We got to fight it."
Racists.
And I was just like, okay. They were never going to win just because
How you gonna beat a
I
city?
still use, yeah. But they tried to get through the front with combat, and I kind of shut down combat by having one character just like blast near them and be like, "Hey, so the next fireball won't be alone and it won't miss." And they're like, "Oh, maybe we should relax." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't feel like killing this.
My
Don't fight
God.
every creature, folks. Don't fight every creature.
You
Talk
can
first.
walk away. You can chat.
Peace can sometimes be an option."
I will
I,
say, for
I, I am loving the Naga Eater song
right,
though right
it's
now.
so good. Naga Eater. I will say
Just
that after 4 years of my players playing a thing, uh,
mhm.
in the last combat they got into, they were already fighting, and like 4 rounds in, one of my players goes, "Wait a minute, don't I speak the same language as them? Can I talk to them?" And I was like,
Oof, oof.
I don't know who you are, but yes, you can. What have you done with my
That's just
player?
a, that's just a deep seated. That's a oof, oof. That's a tough one. Yes, they absolutely should have been doing that from the start.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But you know,
You figured it out.
I
Good for you.
yeah, I'm proud of them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm proud of them. I'm scared, but I'm proud.
So, my next NPC that we have is not from the same group that Annabelle is from, but my players know some people of high forest ranks in the Neverwinter Wood, and I needed a character that would serve my purpose to show both that, like, hey, these orcs do stuff, and also that the forest, Neverwinter Wood, is a lot weirder and potentially scarier than just a regular ass forest. So I came up with
Hmm.
this one character who is an older orc lady who used to be part of the Many Arrows tribe, which is that huge tribe that's trying to make good. They're partnered up with the dwarves right now. Not all of them crave war, some of them crave peace, but they have tons of people who are Spellscars within their ranks. And I gave them Mother Shufarg, who's this surly old orc lady. I'm going to switch cameras. Who just so happened that on the day that I debuted her, my player, Valley of Ageria's partner, happened to be visiting the States because he's from the UK. And I was like, hey, if you want, you can take this new character. So he is one of the players besides me of Mother Shufarg. But her Spellscar ability is that she has her tattoos on her throat, and when she speaks, doesn't require an action or a bonus action or anything. Uh, if she chooses to activate her Spellscar, anyone within audible range of her hears what she's saying in their native tongue, and she is warping the reality around her. And then my players had a whole bunch of questions, so I had to add in this ability cannot be used if Mother Shufarg is silenced, nor when she is within an anti-magic field. Let's just cut them things out right at the beginning. I don't need to deal with any of that. But
Fair.
this is a skinny mini, and while skinny mini does make their own bases, I will show you some skinny mini stuff at some point as well. I started to make my own because the first generation skinny mini bases were awful, and if you even so much as like a millimeter tilted your skinny mini to the left or the right when you were putting them in a base, the base would just explode. And so I started making
Oh.
them out of sticky foam. Bloop.
Ah.
And all you need is a sticky foam layer on the bottom, and super easily you can get a hole punch that just does 1-inch circles. They're super easy to find. You can even, if you wanted to, get a hole punch that does 2-inch circles. That's a large size creature. Bam! The cool thing about making these little foam bases is that to make the top part, you just have to make a slot wide enough for your skinny mini to fit in, which means whatever extra pieces of sticky foam you have left over, you could probably stick it to the top of one of the other circles and just make the slot in it. All you need is a little knife. A little knife. So I can keep all my scraps and use them on top of the sticky foam that I've already got to make all my bases. Boom. Ooh, are there industrial punches that are 3 inches and 4 inches? Because I may need to look into one of those.
Well, I actually, my company may manufacture some, so I
Oh,
might be able to get you one.
hell yeah.
If
Make
I
my
will,
life easy.
if we happen to have some things, I will absolutely acquire something that you can utilize. Trust and believe.
Why, thank you. Oh, and this Warboar is Desoiler. That is his name because he eats poop. And also, he will eat whatever refuse you leave on the
Oh,
battlefield. And it is canonical that the orcs in general, but also the many arrows use warboars as their mounts. So I was like, oh, perfect. I'll solve all these things. She's friends with an animal all the time. Boom. Because her Spellscar ability also works on animals. It's just not things that understand a language. It's everyone hears it in their native tongue.
Okay.
And basically, her backstory is, hey, if literally everyone can understand me, what reason do I have to fight all day?
Fair. Fair. I think that's fair.
Hey, again, this should have been the clue for Grimjack when he was like, I can't believe comprehend languages doesn't let me speak back to them. Mother Shufar can't understand what you're saying back to her. She doesn't have a spell for that, but she can be understood by you. That's just the way it be sometimes.
That's just the way it is.
I'm gonna go back to the group that Annabelle Larkin is from. I kind of did, just way more surly, and sometimes British because Valley of Agiria's partner is British.
So, do you find that it's easier to create the characters and then hand them out? Or do you find yourself sometimes creating some of the characters? Have you created anyone specifically for anyone recently?
Recently,
In terms of,
no. I just got lucky in that when the people were coming to visit, I had already. Actually, that's not true. The first time that Valley of Agiria's partner played with us. No, he did Mother Shufar first. He definitely did Mother Shufar first. The second time, I was working on Shield Meet, which is the festival in the Forgotten Realms where like everyone gets together and just celebrates that they're together. And I said,
oh yeah,
do you want Mother Shufar to come? Do you want another character to make? Or do you want to use one of these guys that already exists, that I've already made? Because I had already made who was going to run every booth at Shield Meet. And we sort of came to this compromise where Valley of Agiria's partner took the idea behind one of the guys that I was going to use. So he either plays Mother Shufarg or he plays a representative of the Lord's Alliance who is a huge dick, speaks kind of like a stereotypical cowboy, kind of, but not really. More like he's based on Clint Eastwood, but more American. Like the most stereotypical American cool guy you can think of, but this guy sucks at everything. And he's basically there for my players to hate. And that wasn't the idea I had for this character, but it's the idea that this Josh came up with.
fair.
And every time he shows up, my players are like, I fucking hate that guy.
Like, oh, he's gonna do that thing we don't like.
I hate that guy. Ugh. And
Sometimes you just gotta create crafty shenanigans for shenanigan crafts.
yeah. My next Spellscar, actually the next Spellscar on my list. Yes. We'll call him Kent Eastwood. I like that.
Kent East.
The last Spellscar on my list is another one. So Annabelle Larkin is part of a group of Harpers, which DM Bacon's character came from. They're from their own group of Harpers. Actually, Grimalkin's character has his own group of Harpers as well, because canonically, the Harpers all try to do the right thing, but they cannot for the life of them work together unless the world is about to end. So they're all out in the world trying to do right by everyone around them, but they very rarely, if ever, connect with one another's cells. So I need
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. In my head, I was just like, But they're harder.
Yeah. So like they could do so much well together, but canonically, every time like that world-ending threat is over, they're just like, well, I think I should lead the group, and every single leader says it at the same time, and they're like, oh, this isn't gonna work. Bye, and they just leave. So they
Like
have it.
I can't lead. I can't lead leaders who
Yeah,
don't want to be led.
yeah. That exactly. Uh huh.
You know what
So,
would settle that for them?
ooh, who?
Akumite.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just 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 throw the old Tekken rules out there, fight for the Mishima Zaibatsu, and just slam down every member of your descendant line and potential bloodline,
Just beat
bastard
him.
children, and yeah, just fight them. Just
Mm-hmm.
we need a solution. Everybody fight.
You have the X of Swords tournament. That's all.
Oh my, no.
That's all. For those of you who would like to use Mother Shufharg, this stat block is available on D&D Beyond. It is released to the public. So if you're on YouTube, you can look in the description. The link is there. For those of you on Twitch, if you'd ever like to use Mother Shufharg, boom, there she goes. I'm going to pin this for a little bit. She is probably one of the only people. She's one of the first stat blocks I made where I didn't realize if I make something, anyone in a campaign that I'm running on D&D Beyond can see it. So I made sure that this one was public. So you can use Mother Shufharg if you would like. All of her spells will link to the correct spells except for the 3 homebrew ones, which I apologize. You'd have to look for those elsewhere because they're not on D&D Beyond. And you can't do a link straight to a homebrew spell, which is silly. But for her first level slots, the homebrew spell Handfire is a druid and ranger spell where basically you hold on to something, and as long as you are still holding on to that item, you can go to sleep, and for the next 8 hours, like that item is tied to you. If it is removed from your hand, you wake up and your hand catches fire. It will burn whatever is touching the item that is trying to be stolen from you. You could also potentially just make your hand catch fire and punch someone in the face, but it is more like I'm going to hold on to this item forever. This is mine. I need this. Earthen Disc.
Sure.
If you've watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, this is pro bending, throwing a disc essentially. The cool thing about it is that if it hits, it knocks you prone. So the way that we run it in my campaign is you have to be touching the floor in order to summon, or you have to be connected to something touching the floor. Like Mother Shufharg, for example, if she's riding Desoiler, she can summon from the earth the disc because she's sitting on top of Desoiler. But you throw it, if it hits, it knocks someone prone, it does damage. But the cool thing is that we use it for is we consider being knocked prone as being knocked off of your mount. So if there are any mounted combatants, Mother Shufharg will earthen disc those guys first.
Oh, but she can technically then also be knocked off the soil.
Yeah.
That way. Oh.
And then the third homebrew spell is Whirling Ascent, which is kind of like a take on Jump, but it also gives you a bonus to your AC. The Jump isn't as good as the Jump spell, but you kind of float down to the ground and you have a bit of a bonus to your AC.
Jump spell is highly underused, I think. Like, there's combat application for the jump spell. Like, hear me out. If you're a monk who doesn't worry about falling damage at a certain point, you should always have someone cast the jump spell on you.
That's
because
fantastic.
What are you afraid of?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you? What art thou shooketh of?
What for real?
In this situation,
I didn't even
there's
think of
nothing
that.
for you to fear.
The ranger in our campaign, Goblin Slayer, he uses jump every combat, but he uses it specifically to get the high ground. Like, he is Obi-Wan Kenobi in every combat.
Smart. Why not?
Gotta go.
You have you're a ranger who doesn't use your long strider ability. Come on, man, get out of there.
Silly.
Get out of there.
Silly.
Get out of there.
So within DM Bacon's group of Harpers, they have a leader. There's some other people, but basically there's a leader, DM Bacon, and then there's what used to be his 4-man group. They're all girls. So I guess 4-woman group, including DM Bacon's character is also a girl in our campaign. But now they're like a 3-man cell. It's kind of like a Naruto thing where it's the leader and then the 3-man cell beneath them. But the third member
Who is their Kakashi?
is their third member is another Spellscar, and this is Alana. She is their rogue, and you can't really see it, but before I laminated this mini, I actually drew her Spellscar on over her eye because her Spellscar ability, and also she's one of the original bases that I had made, so she's got 2 separate bottoms. And the cool thing, since it's sticky foam, you can actually write on the bottom, so I can always remember their names. And then the small extra thing just to shove the base in there, make it sure that it stays. And you can't really tell, but there are plenty of places online that do papercraft where you get base features. This one happens to be, I think, stone, but I have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. Yeah, exactly. You've got it. Her Spellscar.
Just did all the math.
For real? For real? Yeah. Alana's Spellscar is over her right eye, and she has fire manipulation because a lot of the Spellscar abilities have something to do with fire or reality warping. And she can look at open flames and erase them, in air quotes. There's a limit to how much she can erase in any given situation. If she erases too much flame, usually whatever she tried to erase gets bigger. However, she can also potentially, if she trains hard enough, release that fire because she is storing it somewhere. My players didn't really care to delve too deep into her. They're just happy that she's a rogue. Oh, she's doing roguey stuff. That's fine. We don't need her for her cool magical ability. It's fine. I'm like, okay, I guess. All right, I guess. But oh, this was just to show you that there is a link in the YouTube description to take you to Dungeon Craft because I love what Dungeon Craft and 1985 games do. So there's just a link that will take you to doing this stuff.
I like it.
I just wanted to make sure that you had it. And then there's also a link to the specific kind of sticky foam that I use. And the crazy thing is that you can actually see it behind me. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to see it on the camera, but this is where these piles are from. This is the same pack, like the same listing that I originally bought my sticky foam from like 8 years ago. And
Jeez.
This listing is still here, and I just bought another set of 2 just because. But I'm like, how much sticky foam does this dude have?
Currently purchased all of it at like wholesale at the swap meet. Someone was just like, hey man, I got this truck here chock full of sticky foam. And this guy was just like, how much do you want for your entire stock?
He bought all of it. All of it! Like, send everyone, but everything! I was supposed to change the music when it got to showing you cool stuff because I do have a few more cool things. But I realized that I took out the mini for the leader of DM Bacon's Harper group. It was that's her back. Whoops. I was like, I'm looking at it. What do you mean? It is another skinny mini. And hey, you don't even have to do what I did before. You could just take 2 layers of sticky foam and cut the groove into the top layer and stick them both together. Boom, skinny mini still stays up. There's so many things you can do with sticky foam when you're building your characters. She's the one who has the hat that has basically a downloaded consciousness of anyone else who's attuned to the hat. So she has their skills and stuff. Though my players, I don't know if they've put 2 and 2 together, that if she uses an ability that she does not personally know, it makes her sick. I don't know if they've put that together yet. But she's trying to do lots and lots of research on the side. Oh, you know what? I don't have another Spellscar, but I have a plaguechanged in my campaign that I don't have a mini for because we haven't needed one yet. However, I feel we will probably need one now. But I had a... I will just come over here because I think the picture is here. Or is it on D&D Beyond? I'm not sure. We have a Moonstone Dragon. Here we go. There you are, Mrs. Dragon. Moonstone Dragons. Before Fizzbon's released and they brought back Gemstone Dragons, I was like, yo, I would love if I could have some Gem Dragons in there because we need some psychic representation because they did not do good psychic representation, let's be honest. They didn't do it good in 5e. And they're trying now to like add it in, but it's not quite the same, you know what I mean? So before any of this actually happened, I made this plaguechanged dragon because canonically there are a whole bunch of plaguechanged dragons in 5e where they're stuck either in a human form or some other form, and they can't really access their abilities properly. So I have a Moonstone Dragon. The name that I gave her is Somlunassia because they deal with your dreams and stuff. And I don't know if we talked about moon dragons, but we're definitely gonna. Oh, no, I think we did, actually. I think you're right. So I have this Moonstone Dragon that was plaguechanged, and she's been hanging out with the... So DM Bacon's character comes from Helmshold, and they had a sanatorium for people who basically got fucked over by the Spellplague, except that there's basically a genocide that happens if you're in the year 1492 in the Forgotten Realms, where they basically tried to use all the people in there. It didn't work out, and then the government of the city basically massacres them all. So I have a huge contingent of kobolds and goblins that were sort of related to that sanatorium in my world somewhere. And now this particular dragon is with them, but my players didn't know it was a dragon for the longest time. Only until they started learning about Spellscars and plaguechanged. And one of our players is a Verdant, so they have limited telepathy. And they were like, every time I talk specifically in my head to this particular kobold, it's weird that not only are all the images I'm getting back not basic, because generally when you use limited telepathy, you get like a view of a basic idea that the person is thinking about, but it's based on their intelligence. So usually if you have low intelligence or you're probably not that smart, we describe it as like a childlike drawing. Like when a Nilbog sends a message, it's like a childlike drawing that comes back. She's like, whenever I get a message from this particular kobold, it is in like painfully beautiful detail, and they have full huge wings, even though as a kobold they have no wing, and they just seem so regal. And I don't understand why their messages come back like this. And her plague-changed form is that she was stuck as a pink kobold, which is not a Moonstone Dragon color, but it fit better in with the rest of the kobolds that I had there. How they were all different colors and weird, but still a pink kobold is like sort of what you see in the book, but also is weird because it should be red. So we had this pink kobold. We were like, interesting. And her plague change, not only did we make it so that, or did I make it that she's stuck in that kobold form, but she has an issue where when she breathes, she would let out basically gemstone kind of particles, and if you breathe them in, it would start to give you, you would start to grow gemstones on your body. And it's basically like a disease. And eventually you'll get more and more of them. So whenever people would talk to her, they'd always have like a mask over their face or something to be like, oh, I don't know what's wrong. And she tried her best not to ever speak. So having this character who had limited telepathy that could talk to her, she was so appreciative and happy that she didn't have to open her mouth and let out her particles, because basically it's killing the people around her, except it also gave her the ability that you got in Fizzbonds, where each of the dragons can now make a minion, and the Gem Dragon's ability is that if they kill an aberration, they can breathe gems into it and make its corpse their minion, which is metal as hell and not what you'd expect from gem anything.
Yeah, I'm not expecting that in the gem realm. That's damn.
So the way I run it is that if you start developing this disease, she can control you whether she wants to or not. So at the beginning, the people who have like gem scales all over their body and like their faces are all taken over, when she starts moving and she's excited about something, they will mimic her actions. And my players were like, yo, what? Why is the whole group moving like her? Why are they moving their lips like they're talking but no sound is coming out? And we had another player who happened to sort of kind of be a demigod of the woods, and their thing was fungus. And before their character died, they tried to help this poor plague-changed kobold and basically gave her a fungus that lets her sort of coalesce and pull the particles, gemstone particles inside of her, together so that she can now breathe it and create constructs out of it. But also it keeps her from, at least for now, this is running out, and it's something my players are dealing with. Like, how do we fix this for good? It keeps her from letting out those particles when she speaks, so she doesn't give everyone gem disease, because they don't want that. Nobody wants gem disease. But yes, Moonstone Dragons, beautiful, awesome superpowers. Love it. And those are my Spellplague issue characters. My Spellscars and my plaguechanged.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't sure how you were going to utilize it and how it was going to affect the world at first. But I think you did a great job, and the
Thanks, man.
dragons just oof, that's that over the top chef's kiss that I enjoy. I like this. I
I only
like
have
this.
one more thing to show, which I think, yes, does keep me within my area. And by my area, I was like, if I take the first hour, this is good. I've done good.
So I'll take the second hour. I can do
Yeah.
that. I can actually. I'm going to. I'm going to go back on what I said at the beginning, and I think it's time. I think today will be a good day to debut something. So we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it for the round table.
Yeah. The other thing is, I just have a box of minis that I've made over time, that all have basically foam bottoms. But like, listen, you can make minis out of whatever you want. This is literally 2 makeshift maulers from Magic the Gathering and a large size base.
Hell yeah.
And this was my player's like first arc ending boss. And then the things that I talk about a lot, pretty often, are just, it's literally just a page you print out that has the size, and you cut that out or pop it out with the hole punch or whatever and stick it on foam bottom. Bam, now you have a mini for whatever you want. But a lot of the time what I end up using these for is I'll take like a huge and put it under a creature that should be huge, but the mini that I have only has a base for medium or large. It just helps the players figure out like how much range this creature has.
Oh, like scale. Like, can I hit it from here with this spell? Like, okay,
Yeah.
can I? Gotcha.
And then just like there's you could do whatever you want for the bottoms, okay? Like these are oh, I dropped a bear. Well, it just happened to be a bear because DM Shin's here. But sometimes you get rings for bases. Sometimes you get black holes for bases. Paper Mage always does this when you print out a mini. There's different bases that you can put on, but there are also people who just do papercraft where they're like, "Yo, here's all these different things you could put on the bottom, whatever you want to make them stand out." I'm trying to find a different one besides black and oh no, goodbye makeshift mauler. Here's like the road for passersby. Like you could do whatever. You can even put the bases on minis that aren't meant to get them, like regular papercraft people. Like do whatever you want. Whatever. Again, most of the game's in your head, so you can show someone something, it doesn't look like what that character or that creature is, but explain to your players, this is what that is. And boom, you're done. That's just the way it is. Ugh. Makeshift Mauler, come back. Get back in your box. But yeah. Yeah, none of the other kobolds are dead. She just controls them sometimes, which may be necessary. Also, I don't know how many of my players are going to watch this, but there's a very important story reason why having the ability to coalesce crystals would be majorly I turned off the camera, but I got really close to it. There's a major story reason.
As soon as you have nothing visible for you, you're just like, I'm in this thing's face.
There's a major story reason why it would be important to coalesce crystals, guys. Time to kill this bot. Yeah, show me some mod icons. Bye. I'm gonna warn them. Banned.
By bot.
Bye.
Whatever it just tried to cast. I don't know.
I ain't buying no watchers, no viewers. I ain't about that life. But yes, there are plenty of links on YouTube for the stuff. All the stuff that I think I can share, I put a link on YouTube. But Mother Shufar, feel free to use in your own campaigns. Take her. I even have a little description here with some flavor text for you. No comments though.
Well, I think that
let me kill some of this
bot, as alongside the Spellscar, are a good reason for me to remind you without DM Lacara's help once again this week. So I do this on behalf of both myself and DM Lacara. I want to remind you folks that are watching this VOD or watching and not saying anything out in the ethos, because we know you're out there and we still appreciate you.
Yeah.
That you can further assist the roundtable and, in turn, DM Okami by liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all the fun things that make everything more noticeable so that the name and the fun get out there, but also so we can share our love of tabletop everything with you more freely and more openly. Again, I love to say that there is the Patreon that does have the free option for people, but I think the best way to describe everything is for DM Okami to hit the magic button of DM Lacara telling us the best way to help everyone.
Hey, DM
Disembodied
Lacara.
voice to DM Lacara.
Yeah. Hey, DM Lacara, what can they do?
Hit the buttons. Do the thing. If you have money, make the buttons give him money. If you don't have money, just hit the buttons that subscribe, and that also gets him money. So you get to feel good either way.
Yay.
Whew. I don't know why I froze in places I thought it was playing. I have no idea when it starts and ends.
Yeah.
I just like froze in place, like don't move. Like just don't say a word.
So y'all on the stream, you can hear all my voice lines, but the people in the Discord chat cannot.
I have no idea. I watched the stream muted because the bleed over would cause me to be
Yeah.
confused because there's a slight delay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that also reminds me, remind you guys, like I said at the beginning, also check out the Redbubble shop. Dope stuff has been put up there. Tea, you can get it in various forms, from just a simple sticker for a notebook to a cup or a hoodie. Help us out if you can, but if you can't help us out financially, you still help us out financially by just clicking the buttons showing up and telling us what you like and don't like that we do, because we appreciate the input.
Yeah.
We all do. We all do.
Spectators, one eye. Hold on, wait. I'm saying spectators one eye because I was literally holding one in my hand like maybe 15 seconds ago. Because there is a spectator inside of Wave Echo Cave that my players tried. Oh, he has 5 eyes. I have her pre-recorded. Where's the camera? Here we go. This is a spectator. He has 5 eyes, but my players, every time my players meet some guardian, they're like, well, it's either going to be our pet or we're going to stop it from its job. So the spectator, they dismissed it, told it its job was done. They met a flame skull. They purified it, I guess. And they just met, well, they don't know what it is, but they just met an Alep, which is a creature that's gone crazy and just wants to share its infernal knowledge. They're like, yo, we got to find someone to take his place so he can rest. And I was like, what? Huh? Huh? Wait, what? And they're like, who have we met in our travels that would become crazy and take this guy's place so he can pass on? And I was like, what? Huh? What do you mean wants to take this job? That's not really a job that you want to take.
I mean, some people may want to. I don't think they should, but they might try.
Oh, that's true. It could just be like a vestigial, like they don't actually see out of it. You're right. I'll give you that, Awas.
Yeah.
I will definitely give you that. Ooh. They are pretty good little guys. I like flame skulls too. That's a weird thing to say.
Is it?
Maybe not. I mean, we've definitely said weirder stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't. I feel like it doesn't even scratch the iceberg. That is the strange things that have been said.
So I didn't get a chance to ask you this, DM Shin, but how do you wanna? Do you have something to show the audience? Because I was talking to DM Lacara about this, and I was like, well, I can share the shared screen from Discord, or if there's a link or something, I can show that.
I am going to send you the link to it. I think you have it already. I sent you the link to it, and you can just share it, and we're gonna look at it because today, folks, I am going to share what started as a 5e adventure and has blossomed into my very own. Well, it's in work, so everything you guys are seeing is work in progress. You guys are going to be the first public audience that I have ever debuted this to, so apologies for any typos, oddities, and its rough structure, but this is it in its alpha to beta form. And I'm going to present to you guys literally my game world. It is currently being written as an adventure. It is currently being written as an entire TTRPG, but I am actually going to be taking parts out of it to convert it into a 5e conversion for people that just want to run it as a 5e game, because it's very simple to do. But today, we are going to debut my personal TTRPG. It is known as Cardna, The Lost Cities. It is completely created by me. I have gotten tons of input from a bunch of my DM friends, DM Lacara included. I was hoping DM Lacara would be here to also see it today, but that's okay. Hopefully catch the VOD. I'm going to walk you guys through it, though, today, as we take a look at what started as, like I said, an actual 5e conversion, and has literally become its very own game. So let's I think we can see each other's cursors on there now.
Ah, I was like, who else is here? Dun dun dun.
The owner. But let's you actually put it in full screen mode, Okami. And it gets rid of all the fun little if you go to view, you can go to full screen mode and you get rid of all the fun little slurp 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 on it.
Oh, wait, I know what's happening here. Mine is a
Oh,
little pushed off to the side, but it's fine.
Oh.
So you guys, if you were looking at this file, you can see the edges. The way that OBS is set up for me, my edges are pushed off a little bit.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But I guess it's time to walk you guys through. Yes. I've never done this, so pardon my my newishness of this. So let's give you some background. I have designed a few adventures, mostly theater of mind stuff, been running through Roll20. The last one I did was a desert adventure, which the other thing I was going to share today were the cards that I actually made for the desert adventure and some of the cool mechanics I had come up with that. But I thought it better idea that for this show and tell, I show you guys the play guide that I've been writing and debut pretty much one of the character sheets that is finished currently for a character. I was going to have Okami pretty much generate a character on stream for you guys to see what it looks like. It's very simple. It's rolling dice, and everybody loves rolling dice, so why not? But let's start off with this tiny little blurb that I put in there for everyone, explaining, giving you a little setup. And it starts with, the stars may guide you, but they cannot protect you from the things that lurk in the deep. And sometimes the safest course is to stay on land, where the only monsters are the ones we make ourselves. That was actually more fun to read out loud than I thought. I didn't realize that.
I keep forgetting that I've already turned the camera off, but I just like stared menacingly into it as you were speaking.
The world of Cardna, as this will probably explain to you, and I'll definitely leave clips up. Once it's actually finished, my hope was to actually have this available for everyone on the Patreon to be able to take the 5e conversion and play it as a Patreon reward. That's actually
hell yeah
going to be something that's going to be finished up by around May for everyone to enjoy. So keep a lookout for that.
You're giving us your birthday present?
Yes, I am. That's my gift to you guys. I love you guys.
Good guy, DM Shin.
Cardna started off as a very interesting conversion of Victorian era Victorian era themes and sea exploration that is involved in D&D because you can make any campaign anything, but doesn't have a lot of mechanic to it. And as I kept working on it, I realized that, well, I really love Victorian era things, but I wanted to distance myself from the standard tabletop stuff that we see in 5e. And then, of course, 5.5 edition came out, and I was just like, absolutely not Flips table. What are we doing? That eventually evolved into Cardna, which is a mix between the game Greedfall, if you've ever seen it, Bloodborne, which everyone knows, tabletops as a whole, and Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the pirate one, in a weird way. The setting is a world disconnected from everything it once knew. And that's because this world comes at the end of an event called the Cataclysm. Everyone was hanging out, spending their days living on land, similar looking to Earth in some ways. And the sky fell. The sea rose, the sky fell, and land became the most valuable thing anyone could own. You take place as one of 10 members of a war band of people who are going to be sent on missions to complete certain tasks, not to save the world necessarily, but to give humanity a fighting chance. What do you say we delve in a little bit further, though, Kami? Because I think it's about time we explain some of the fun things here. I gave a little bit of an early start of just explaining what a TTRPG is because, like I said, as it evolved into an actual tabletop game, I felt like I should explain things to people. But the three biggest things that I want to hammer in when it comes to this game and adventure are: it is not story driven in the same sense of big bad guys and evil entities, at least not at first. It is a mission based game. So, as it stands, there are 5 islands that I have created that exist as in-game hub world. To give you a fine example of what they look like, I will, Kali, I think I sent you one of them once, but I'll send you another one that you can just throw up. I think the share, every time I throw the share function up, I feel like everything goes, roll, and I'm just like, no.
Every time I go to share, I get terrified that I'm going to hit the share as editor button and send it to someone I don't want to edit it. And then I have to go back and look 50 times to be like, is it viewer? Is it viewer? Is it viewer? Is it viewer?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to share the initial city of where it started, Arcanum. Let's get you all set up. So the first city anyone could ever encounter was this place, a fun little place called Arcanum. It started off as a very cool Lovecraftian love child and evolved into one of 5 places. The goal: explore your location, complete your mission, and get out alive. I've done away with a lot of the standard things that people are used to, which is including spell slots, experience points, and subclasses. Those 3 things do not exist in the game world as it is currently. That being said, you do level up in rank, you can cast spells, and there are unique parts of each class, which I'll show everybody later. I've also, like I said, done away with spell slots for the second reason, because there's a new stat mechanic that I introduced for myself. If anyone's ever played the Darkest Dungeon games, they know it has a large love of the stress and all things stress related. Stress is your lifeblood in this game. I like the idea that D&D has of death saves, even though it's something introduced later on in D&D to kind of keep people alive. I didn't want people to die, so the stress system goes up to 100. You can take HP or stress damage. And every 100 stress equals 1 madness. He said, let's go to Ark. It's a silly place. It's a silly place until you meet the inhabitants of Arkham.
We're all silly
it's definitely
here.
not the happiest. Oh, I definitely think you could find a few members of a certain asylum in this place. Maybe not living their best lives, though. that being said, I'm really trying to find a good way to talk about this. It's tough. It's tough. I don't really know how to introduce this. So let's start off with you're in the right spot, Okami. Let's scroll up a little bit to getting started and let's just introduce the classes. Let's start there. Like I said before, there are 10 classes in this game right now. One of them is purposely left blank because I am trying to work out how I want to explain it, and it has gone through several name changes. But I will give everybody a good idea of how they work. The first one's the Inquisitor. Think your fighter meets paladin with a little bit more emphasis on being a paladin. They are your heavy armor wearing, banner throwing, tough guys who are really good at punching through things and really bad at the arcane and the occult. Things you are going to encounter in this world. Cardna has a lot of things that you expect in a lot of standard horror tropes built into it. A lot of my inspiration does come from that, growing up on a lot of horror movies as well. I wanted to infuse that idea of stress and horror and the things that go bump in the night because 5e does a great job of scaring you with dice rolls. I want to scare you before you roll the dice. And I think that the things that can trigger stress, from opening a door into a room the wrong way to certain spells causing stress for your party members, adds to that. And I get to hide a lot of things in a pretty much abandoned city. Or cities, I should say now. Inquisitors, in this case, deal with one of the biggest problems that you'll face in all of these Sin cities, which is undead. Now, Kami, what's your experience with 5e and D&D as a whole? How would you say undead usually are? Like, would you say you run into a ton of them? Would you say that they get sprinkled through your campaigns? What would you say?
I feel like for the most part, there's almost until you get to maybe tier 3 or tier 4, undead are just the fodder that's always there.
Okay. They're like a goblin, right?
Yeah.
What if I told you that I've taken goblin fodder of undead and increased its density to be more dense than the living population?
Are you telling me this is some AD&D roll 1d100 for skeletons when you step on a trap?
Yes.
Oh no, that's
yes,
too
I
many.
The biggest part of this game that I wanted to emphasize after scaring enough of my players out of combat was that combat is not your only option to survive. The only way people will survive is by using wit, teamwork, and their abilities. As a bit, as in one more than a bundle. Yeah, slightly less than a bundle it was. Slightly less than a bundle. Inquisitors, though, are great for that because they can banish the undead, similar to a paladin, through use of what I call banners. Banners are their special ability, and essentially a banner allows them to buff their party for a period of time, whether it be the equivalent of a short rest or the equivalent of a long rest, or until their next short rest or long rest, which is a lot harder to do in this world because you have to find safe space to do so. Think you're always outside. They're complemented by their ranger equivalent, which would be the Witch Hunter. Not so much Blood Hunter 5e style, but I wanted to really lean into the fact that there are people who kill the undead because they feel like that's the thing to do for king and country. And then there's people who just really enjoy taking things out. Witch hunters are the marksmen, the trackers, the trappers. They are your ranger rogue archetype. They're great with guns, which are a thing in this world. I created an entire gun table because, well, everybody wants to use a gun in D&D, and I personally have never found a good reason for it.
Do you hear that,
Here
Grimjack?
it is.
Do you hear it?
I don't like guns in my games, in my D&D. I will put it in my TTRPGs, though. Witch hunters are the handlers of that. They use a lot of cool weapon tricks and cool little things. Very inspired by the hunter tool items saw on Bloodborne. A lot of the inspiration for those items that I've created comes from that, and that's their big special ability that they get to use. They help the party out by foraging for food a lot, sensing things, scouting ahead because scouting and foraging are really important. A lot of survival based tactics go into this game, and if you've ever wanted to play outside the game, here it is. This is a game for people who don't like the outside but want to play on the outside.
If you only want to touch mind grass.
Yeah, play this. The most interesting, one of the first interesting class that comes up out of this game, though, I'm not going to dwell too long, is the Antiquarian. Like I said, this game is built around exploration and missions. And sometimes you need someone who's literally just book smart.
Oh.
And that's what they are. They are the bookworm turned archaeologist. They search for ruins and relics. They understand artifacts. They do a lot of cool things, but you throw them in combat and they're kind of like, I can cast spells. They don't want to fight, but they do get to use a lot of cool mechanics that I think have been lost. It's a mechanic that I took from older D&D editions, which is weapons that don't really do damage, but do cool things. They are the only class that I put in this game that fights with an incense sensor. If you've ever been to a old, like, if you've ever been to like a Catholic church or like some of the older Christian services, or you've seen like those like ancient movies where like they have those things that they swing left and right and like spew great aromas and scents and incense out of. It's one of those. It's just a giant burning censer, with an E, not an L. You can't play Minecraft. We're not playing Minecraft. There is no Minecraft to play.
Not in this world.
Not in this world.
There is only suffering.
Priests are very straightforward. Their equivalent would be the cleric, and followed by them are the zealot, which is your mage archetype. Because chaos and magic in this world are based around stress, and you get to cast more powerful magic by going insane. Think of the priest as the person who's like, I want to heal you, but I want this to be better for you. And the zealot to be, I want to go crazy so I can blow something up better. Like a priest wants to take time to relax. The zealot just wants to go more insane. It's a good time. And then we get to the Condemned, which I don't want to go into too much detail on because of its mechanic being really cool, but they were inspired by druids.
Oh.
In the way they should be. I think that's the best way to put it. And then going down the line for the rest of them, you do have the Warden, which is the better fighter, the Corsair, which is the pirate, the Researcher, who is, if you know me, you know I love alchemy as a thought process and a whole. It is based into pretty much all of my names online and a lot of my monikers. This is my pat myself on the back. I did it. I made a proper alchemy class that throws potions all the time. But it's also a lot of brewing. I did get inspired a lot by some of the cool stuff we saw in one of the previous episodes of the Roundtable. If you don't know which one, you should go through all the episodes to find out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you like I did that.
Mm-hmm.
But the researcher is there for party support as well as combat options. And then the last class, which is the maestro, it is your pet class, but it is a pet
Oh.
class that is only linked to its pet because of its psychic abilities.
Oh.
Mhm. I won't go too much further into this because I don't want to kill everyone's brain cells without playing it because it's a lot of oh. But most of the stuff going on from here is a lot of the rules for making the game. I had a lot of fun trying to balance stuff out, trying to get stats and attributes down because and attribute rolls don't necessarily go up. But a cool thing that I do have in everything for is abilities, which is just a d6 roll. You want to use an attack ability? Roll a d6. You wait, what did I need? You want to roll a defensive ability? Roll a d6. Essentially, I've built these abilities into each class to give you additional options other than swing, block, dodge. Just really trying to amplify combat without bloating it, but also to allow there to be a lot of ways in combat to get out of combat. So there's a lot of trip effects, stun effects, debuffing effects that can exist in this game, but just remember they also can affect you. I'll skip down though to the fun part, Kami. If you want to scroll down a little bit, you're gonna get to what is called the 10 pillars. You'll see it because you'll see these cool icons pop up, so you'll know.
Oh yeah.
You'll know what it is. I needed religion in my game of some sort, and this is the fault. And I needed the world to have teachings that existed in it after the world fell apart. That is where these come in. You want a potion slinger? I can, A-Wise, I will, when a researcher's done, I will happily share it with you because I think you'll like what I've cooked up for it in terms of things that it can do. We will look at it one day. I'll convert them to 5e for people if I can do it as subclasses because they actually all would fit under one of the monikers of the regular 5e subclass of what 5e classes. So that'd be fun to do. I'll put that on my list as fun things to do.
Our lists are
But like I
getting
said, I
real
made
big.
meaty, big meaty lists. Slapping list. Big meaty list, slapping lists. So the 10 pillars that exist in my world, I'm going to scroll through quickly. The art is a lot of painstaking generation. I have not acquired a true artist yet, but once I do, I will be redesigning these things using similar patterns. I really do like it. But I have been utilizing so a lot of the art is tentative for it for now. You have the Cult of the Unseen, which looks like initially I sent this to one of my friends and he was just like, "Oh, Baka Aaron Yeager," and I was like, "No, this has nothing to do with Attack on Titan." They are the assassins of the world. They are a cult of people who believe that what's done in the shadows stays in the shadows. There's the Order of the Lion. They are your very strong merchant guild turned seafarers, and their leader in world, she is very open to giving people under her working thumb a lot of difficult tasks. That's the best way to put it. This creepy, decayed, desiccated husk in a is Saint Cathan, one of the people that you do get to introduce and learn about in the game. He is one of the saints of this world and one of the people thought to have helped reestablish humanity. There's a lot of cool stuff that I built into the game around him. They are very much the burn it all people, though. They believe that the world can be purified in flames at times.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting big Ted Faro energy from this dude.
A little bit. The Society of the Arcane. It's pretty straightforward. It's an eye on a box. I think it says everything that it needs to say about itself. Brotherhood of the Iron Fist follows them, and they are essentially they're where the big meaty men that slap meat exist. That is their brother. They are the
That
brother.
guy's so
Now,
meaty. He has 7 fingers. My God, that's meaty.
yeah, and it's purposeful to have 7 fingers. There's a reason it does. It's the story-related reason, actually. And then I guess kind of skip to the last 3 because they're the last few. Because I don't want to waste too much time. I want to get to the fun part of revealing a character sheet. But there's the Circle of the Moon, which are your Celtic theme. I really got Celtic theme from that.
Oh.
The Sect of the Empty Throne. Any of my Warhammer fans out there know all about nihilistic sets and acolytes of war. They know all about what it means to stand for that 40K goodness. If you've seen the Astartes 2 trailer, you're probably standing there right now just proud as hell. The Guild of Celestial Navigators was actually inspired. The last 2 are actually kind of inspired by the Roundtable. So the Guild of Celestial Navigators is inspired by DM Lacara and her love of all things celestial. Where the Lane is inspired by DM Okami and his natural love of all things animal.
Oh.
They do have their own little hints in there that I have built into it. Most people won't understand the reference, but I will, and that's why it's not for them, it's for me. And the last one is the Fellowship of Lost Souls. They are people who follow survival. And what I mean by that is they just want to stay alive. There are a large number of living humans left in this world. It's not to say that you will never encounter living beings, but it is to say that, and to kind of touch on something that we talked about earlier, not everything you meet and interact with is hostile, nor is every monster you meet truly a monster. This is a world that you're playing in 250 years after a cataclysm, which means life has had time to readjust. 90% of the land masses have been eaten up, leaving small little villages are essentially floating hut homes that people float boats into. Cities, there's only 3 cities in existence left that are known. There's tons of ruins. There's a super jail in the middle of a wasteland. And one of the greatest cities in existence is a floating one. And if we scroll down, Okami, just a little bit down, the last thing I'll introduce from this document before we move over to the character sheet is the locations that you have.
Oh, yeah.
And these are the 5 places that the game takes place in. There is the sealed city of Arcanum. It's known as the Walled Port. I gave them each one of them a little bit of like a little blurb. So, Arcanum is best known as a sealed-off great port city, once a beacon of civilization, is now a labyrinth of secret and shadows. Rumors abound of ancient evils lurking within its walls, and those who dare to venture into Arcanum rarely return. As you can tell, it is overrun by the undead and burning fleshy walls of death. Surviving here, this was the first city I created, actually. It was built very much as a drop in and hope you survive Mordheim style, if you've ever played Mordheim. It became super evil, frightening stuff. And now it's just chock full of undead and many other problems. The next
TM.
area that you'll find, yeah, seriously, problems.tm. Oakhaven is the Eternal Forest, a vast forest sanctuary, now a tapestry of ancient temples and forgotten ruins. Oakhaven is a place of both beauty and danger, where the whispers of the old gods mingle with the rustling of leaves. Writing these little blurbs is really hard
This
because
is
I want to sound mysterious.
The fact that you didn't like this picture isn't in the forest or of the forest, it's of a map of the forest, makes it seem so much more mysterious. Like you can't even go in. I
Oh
like
yeah,
it.
there's reasons. It gets better, Okami, because after that we come to Candace, the starred wasteland. Not scarred, starred. It is spelt weird on for a reason. It is a desolate wasteland of fallen stars where the remnants of celestial bodies have twisted the very fabric of reality. Candace is both a place of wonder and terror where secrets and danger lurk around every corner. The picture of Candace that you see is actually a place in the world that the condemned class actually comes from. Like I said, and you'll see when I explain the character sheets really quickly next, I did away with you having to worry about cooking up too much backstory by giving you a big chunk of backstory to work with and play with.
Mm.
This is a game for people who want to invest in creating their own backstory and not their own character. This location you see is a place known as the Gao. It's actually pronounced the jail, but it's spelled like the old jail,
Yeah.
Gaol. And when I showed it to someone, they were like, "Oh, the Gao? I want to go there." So now it's just called the Gao because they could not pronounce jail.
Listen, not everyone's played Elden
Um,
Ring, okay?
I agree. Um, this is a very major location in the middle of this wasteland, but it is a true wasteland. The next place is an actual location that is completely sea based. It's known as the Dead Blue, also known as the Maw of Progress. It is an open sea graveyard, and I wanted to represent that by pretty much showing a map of someone's attempted routes through to safety.
Oh.
That is why you see this broken glass. It's like it was a captain's table. You're in a boat. It's very much symbolic of that. And the last place is literally a picture of the place and the islands. And this is actually the image that I show players for the fifth island that exists, the bastion of human civilization, Ilios, what is known as the High Cap.
Detroit.
Yes. Detroit? No. No, not quite.
Not enough cars.
Not quite Detroit. Not enough cars. There's no cars, so it couldn't be. Ilios is the last remaining capital city standing as a beacon of civilization. Essentially, when the world fell apart and they realized things were going to go to shit, Ilios rose above the water. And as you can tell in the picture, there's a section submerged under the water. That is the anchor of Ilios. That is the bottom half of the city they shed to float.
Oh.
They didn't tell anyone they were going to shed this bottom half of the city. I'll leave that for your imagination.
They said, fuck them pores.
Yeah, pretty much. They're just like, hey, you're poor. Good luck. Good luck. And that's just the basics of the guide for right now. There's a lot of stuff being added to it, but and that is pretty much how it started. That is the world building and everything. I plan on making it for 5e purposes. It's going to actually, I've already started working out the drafting for it. It will be converted into a plane of its own existence, so it would be accessible in a plane and like a fun little planescape adventure and anything like that. It will be tethered to some of the cool 5e things that do exist. And I will be, now that Edwaz has kind of suggested it and requested it, I'm going to be working those each of the classes that I've created into subclasses for one of the existing classes in D&D. They actually easily connect to each one of them, and like I said, in their own way. So if you've ever wanted to have a fighter that, depending on what their weapon was, got one of 10 different attacks, which each have different effects on it, when I create the Warden subclass for fighters or rangers, I think you'll have it. That being said, the only thing that I could share left would be a character sheet with Okami. So Okami, I'm gonna send you a character sheet. Actually, hold up, wait. Can I do it like this? Yeah, I can do it this way. I'm gonna ask you.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and open that, and then make a copy. Well, actually, you can play around in this one. We're gonna play around. We can play around this.
I don't even know how to make a copy. Teach me how to do that. Sometimes it happens, but I don't know how I actually do it. Oh, is it the plus?
So if you go to File, and you can just hit Make a Copy.
Oh my god.
But this is a character sheet. We can just play around in this, though, because it's really not that serious. I can always delete the number. You're not going to mess around with anything. Great.
Nah.
This, as I said, I created my own game, so I had to start creating my own character sheet. And this is it. This is my character sheet. Oh, yeah, play around with that. Perfect.
Yes. He's so good at Excel right now. Like, king of Excel at the moment.
Not yet. I am learning. This has taught me Excel, which has been better for my job. There are a lot of drop downs, a lot of clicking, a lot of moving parts. So Tommy, let's make a character together. Okay?
Oh hell yeah.
All right. So you're gonna be. This is the Zealot, which is the first completed character sheet. It is completed with all of its, and you can click through. At the bottom of this sheet, you're going to find 4 different tabs. This is how I play my players through it. You'll find 4 different tabs, which are going to eventually be converted into actual sheets like you would see on like a D&D. Think of them as your D&D tabs. It's your player sheet, which is just your stats. The biggest thing to notice is, like I said, you have your name, your HP, and your stress out of 100. You will be tracking your madness does track. But Okami, let's play around with this. You go up to the top, go to where the stress is. Let's go to the top where the stress is. Let's say you've encountered a creature, you're really scared now, and you've had a little stress already. Could you pump your stress up to 51 for me? Just click the 0 and just type 51.
It didn't do the thing. Why didn't it do the thing?
I didn't do the thing. I wanted to think.
I know what's supposed to happen now too, so I'm like, wait a minute. It did the thing. I saw him do the thing before. Why did it do the thing?
Hold on.
What did I do wrong? I'm gonna blame me. I'm gonna say it's me.
No, it could have just.
Both of us are like, no, don't do what?
Well, it was supposed to change color. I don't know what happened to my formula now. I might have to recheck my formatting on this. I've pretty much gotten this sheet down to track things for people. So you're going to notice a lot of drop-down menus on here. Actually, you guys can see that I'm clicking on stuff because Okami and I are looking at the same sheet. So I just thought about that. I didn't realize that. You'll notice a couple of things. So like I said, your stress is out of 100. Every 100 stress equals 1 madness, which gets just tracked where you keep your madness. Your speed, everyone has a standard speed of 30 feet of movement. And one thing that's interesting here that you'll find is your merit. Now, your merit is a number that will go up and down as you complete tasks, objectives, and kill things. think of this as your experience points. It only affects one thing, your rank. But Okami, at level 0, you're just an initiate. When you have no merit,
Damn.
you're nobody. But if you get a little merit, you might become a novice. A little bit more, you could become adept at things. You start getting really good at stuff, you might become named. And if you become truly powerful, you could become a legend. I coded in this system to pretty much give you ranks to grow to, which do give stat-based things for health and stress and other skills growth. I did it because initially that didn't exist, and I just wanted people to just suffer like G did. When I realized this was going to grow, I realized that people should grow too. The merit system works that way to allow you to be rewarded for doing things. And because I think Okami and I both know that players always want to know, well, when do I level up? Here's how it works. If you complete all of these objectives and escape, which means get back to your boat, because every party gets their own boat. This game starts off, and in the campaign, we'll start off with you having your own captain, crew, and boat that work with you. You'll have one. But it's your job to get back to them alive. Or else, guess what? All that cool stuff you did in the city doesn't mean jack. You can only level up when you leave the city and get back to your boat.
Oh.
But it's designed that way because each island can be visited multiple times. And as you visit an island, as you explore, you'll discover locations. You'll go to different parts of these islands. You'll find new things, and you'll explore parts of the city that you have visited and revisit old sanctuaries and stomping grounds for safety. Maybe you'll go to Ilios finally after being called there and be asked to go to Oakhaven to go talk to somebody. Well, while you're over there, somebody in Oakhaven might be like, hey, could you pass this message to somebody that works in the gal? Interactivity between the islands does exist. However, how safe you will be getting to that person and whether or not that person will be alive is up to you and the players. You'll notice that I do have my own skill system similar to D&D, as abilities. I've narrowed it down to simple things, and everything is based on D100. What that means is, if you played old D&D games, you roll a D100, whatever your skill is, you want to get that number or lower. Sounds annoying when you see the number 20, but trust me, it gets better when you actually have stats. As I said, there's a lot to it. I've coded in your equipment, so you can select what kind of weapon you have and how much damage it does. I haven't automated it yet because that's a lot of work. But I'm
You've
getting there.
already done so much work. Like when DM Shin and DM Lacara are like, "Hey, I'm working on this thing," and they're like, "Oh, I've just barely started," and I'm just staring at the screen like that's like weeks worth of work.
Yeah, something like that. A little bit. I have built an artifact system. That's the newest thing that's been added to this sheet. Each artifact, I'm just gonna give you guys an example. There are things that you can find in the universe. This is every artifact that currently exists in my game, which is more than I realized I created. But they each have passive and active effects. So when you select your artifact, naturally you get the effect. But when you have no artifact, it's just none. Weapons, pretty straightforward. Like I said, I've even added guns in here. So you'll see revolvers, muskets, pistols, shotguns, rifles. A blunderbuss exists.
Oh, it's fantastic.
The cool thing about the Zealot is they are a magic caster. So they also get a tome. I have built my own magic system, which can be selected here. And the book style can be selected here. That was some work.
Is it crystal based?
Not
Even though DM
cryptocurrency.
Lacara doesn't have internet right now, I'm sure she prickled.
On the left side, you're going to find your 5 attributes. Very straightforward. This number has changed multiple times as I keep playing with the math to make a number that does not cripple you as a player and annoy me as a GM.
Mm.
Uh, Something fair but balanced. DM clubs helped me find a really good website called Any Dice that I need to use for everything. So,
Ooh.
um, and again, your Tenzins, which are the religions of this world, I've built them into a cool little list over here on the left because you pick one at start. And then the real part where everything gets explained, which is the second page, the reference sheet.
I realized you
Uh,
guys can't see the tabs at the bottom because of how my stuff's pushed off the screen, but there are 4 tabs.
there are. There are 4 tabs normally. They are labeled your player sheet, your reference sheet. The reference sheet is where you're going to find your character's story. Basically, I've built a backstory for why each character came out here. I found the swirly Googles of super stuff. God, swirly God. Why'd I read Googles? Why'd I
I
read Googles of super science? I am blind in both eyes.
I when you said handfire earlier, I added a cursed item from a cursed item compendium way back when in my campaign that basically when you get targeted by something, the targeting changes to a random creature nearby you. And the guy who was wearing it, all his friends died because every time he would get targeted by something, they would get hit by it instead. And I'm just thinking like if you have that and handfire, like you're never getting hit, but everyone around you is dying.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, 1,000%. But like I said, I built some backstory to each character. You guys get to play with the backstory as you want. If you wanted to, you could completely delete this and write your own backstory if you wanted to. That's just where it is. That's the rough idea of what a zealot looks like for character purposes. But this little empty, the blank space on the first page, that little white box that you have in the left corner, it's really where I meant for a spot for someone to put a portrait of their
Mm,
character.
over
I
here.
tried to decode it in there, didn't know how to. But this is also where you're going to find the description of all your abilities. You have 5 abilities, and they pretty much get activated when you think they get activated at will. Uh, they will look kind of weird to you right now, but I would explain it to a party normally. The idea is that you could attack with a weapon, or you could use an attack-based ability. For the zealot, they don't start with a weapon at all. You'll see on the bottom a bunch of equipment sets down there that you can start with. None of them start with a weapon. Each of them start with the form of magic in this game. Tomes. Because you can't just know spells. Um,
Nah.
magic is magic comes from chaos in my world. Chaos is bad, okay? And because chaos is bad, I had to find a cool way to have you use chaos. So everything is written in tomes of magic. So everyone casts magic like a wizard in my world. But everyone also takes extreme mental stress and duress from it. The zealot is cool because their last thing, the last page on them, life is like it's a it's true. It's very true. You will find the next tab being a compendium of spell books. Now
This is the thing.
this is where every spell that I've created for this game exists, and it is constantly being updated. But I want to point out something. Oh, that's the last page. That's the last page. That's one. That's the newest page that I've added. And this is the page. This page is quick. I promise you. We'll get to the last page quickly because I know we're getting about to hit time. I only need like a few minutes. So
Oh, you're good. Since when do we
Here,
not go over time?
it's true. It's true. I built a lot of spells into ideas of damage and effectiveness. Obviously, these things are consistently being updated, which is why I'm not going to go crazy. But you'll notice that each of them has a mind requirement, which is how much mental prowess you'll need at least to cast the spell, and how much stress it costs to cast the spell of that level. There's only 5 levels of spells. However, like I said earlier on, to cast magic, it causes you mental anguish and stress to channel chaos. More powerful magic, higher stress. When you get to level 4, you have to at least have gone mad once. There's an entire table for madness. When you hit 100 stress, you roll on the madness chart, and it triggers one of 6 effects. Like, you can go blind for an hour. You can lose the ability to speak. Food becomes tasteless, and you have to eat more to survive. A lot of weird, funky effects that I've created. I created my own wild magic table, which is the other thing I'll share next time. That I still have. That was the other thing I'm thinking about
He
sharing.
loves wild magic.
Oh yeah. But once you hit 1 madness, you can cast those spells. Once you've hit 2 plus madness, you can reveal this big old black box of text that no one can read. Now, you could read it if you clicked on it, but the effects in this box are quite unexplained for a reason. And the idea is that people casting magic of this level have pretty much tapped into something otherworldly and gained the power to cast the spell. Now, I'll tell you guys, because you guys aren't playing, but a 6 on the table puts you in contact with an outer deity. An outer deity, beholding them causes certain things to happen depending on who you roll and get. They're all gods that I've created now. It started off as Lovecraftian gods. They've now become my entire own pantheon, which is frustrating.
Sick.
And in that pantheon exists creatures that will grant you certain magic. There you go. Now, the last part of show and tell that I will get to, that Okami skipped to a little bit, is the special ability of each class. Like I said, each class has their own unique effect. I felt like just being able to cast magic from a book was kind of weak. I really did.
Oh.
So I gave them something better than just having magic. I gave them a weapon unique to only wizards, an artifact of their own crafting. Think of a lich's phylactery built by an apprentice. This is your life's work. The Arcanum Leporal, which is an arcane lore. Zealots in my game have this really cool item that is called the Arcane Lore. It essentially allows them to combine materials that they can find in the world, which is the ingredient chart that you see on the left-hand side. And when they're combined in certain ways, they grant certain effects, which you can see labeled on the right-hand side. Everybody starts with an apprentice's lure. The backstory behind that is that it's the lure that your master built you before sending you off as his final gift, because he could no longer teach you after this. The reasons as to why, you can discover. It's the best way to put it. But for spoilers' sake, he gone. He gone. He put his soul into his final gift to you.
He has to die.
Well, his final thing was to put his soul into his gift to you. Each of these have 4 components, which is the regent, the catalyst, a vessel, and a focus. Regent will grant you a cool once per quick effect. Think of like a cantrip almost. Yeah. Basically, you can the basic apprentice's lore allows you to form a magical dagger that can be thrown up to 30 feet or used to stab in melee. Either way, it does 1d4. That's just up to you to decide. I figured that a dagger is usually the item that they give every magic caster. So why not just give you a magic knife based on your magic stat? I basically am just giving you a bonus knife for free. It comes with bonuses to your skills. Everything in the game boosts or lowers your skills, not your stats. Very rarely will you get stat increases, and that's only because everyone is human. And to do something like increase your strength seems kind of inhuman, doesn't it?
A little bit.
It's like, how would you increase your luck as a human? But because things outside of this world aren't human, a lot of things you could do. But the base race is human because I just want humanity to survive here. I didn't really want to add too many of the fantasy races, but they're very interchangeable in the world once you dropped it in here. So the second part is your skill bonuses. The third part is a curse. Everything that gives you blessings in my game also sometimes comes with a side bit debuff. Not to hurt you, but just to kind of remind you that with great power comes Uncle Ben's speech. Best way to put it. The apprentice's lure comes with the curse of heritage, which is the weight of being an apprentice causes you an additional stress whenever you cast. All of the curses are pretty much themed to what the item is. So like the lock of hair is the tangled curse. The bloodstained cloth is the anemic curse.
Oh.
The human tooth is the vengeance curse. Stuff like that. I tried to make them theme appropriate. And then the last ability is a once per day ability. The lore just allows him to recover stress. But what most people don't know, if you click on that little drop down for the last one, Okami, you're going to see a long list.
There's so many things.
So if you happen to combine certain items in a certain way, you can actually, in my game, create evolved evolved items. Everything that you see that's an evolution on the bottom is a combination. I've written out the combinations, and it's written in a guidebook. Pretty much, I'm making a guidebook for DMs so that players don't know it, but DMs can tell them, you've done this. You know,
it's one of those things that's like in old school games, they had like the extra pages in the back of the instruction manual that were blank, but they had lines on them. So you'd be like, I figured out the secret, and then you'd scribble it down.
Pretty much. That's what this is for. They are evolved versions of every ability that the sixth ability can do. So let's just pick one really quick. Pick anyone. Pick anyone that you want.
I want Terror's Essence.
Okay. So Terror's Essence is the evolution of the Essence of Fear. So I should click the Essence of Fear first. Let's see what the Essence of Fear does.
Boop.
So the Essence of Fear, pretty good old-fashioned Essence of Fear. The user can project an aura of fear around themselves, causing all nearby enemies to suffer -2 penalty to their attack roll. Now, let's say you happen to combine some of the other regions' catalysts and put it in the right vessel. The Essence of Fear evolves into what you want to see, Terror's Essence. And it can be used to create an aura of fear that paralyzes enemies with terror. However, you're going to notice that each of these also comes with a certain line at the end that tells you a little bit about what you're thinking once you've finished making this. Each of these things to create these has a quest associated with it, and that's a tie-in for a player. And that's to kind of help push them forward into looking into further things. But this is a character in my game. This is one of 10 characters that exist. The Zealot is not the happy mage. The Zealot is a person seeking chaos to find their own truth. And there's 9 others who do similar things. The Inquisitor is looking to gain rank. The Warden wants to know why he was given away. The Condemned needs to figure out what the hell happened to them. The Condemned is fun because the backstory for a Condemned that I tell a player that takes the Condemned is, you have no idea what's happened to you in the past 8 years.
Ooh.
You just have a bunch of scars. You have a bunch of scars and a bunch of equipment that they've given you, and you were just told, congratulations, you won your freedom. You're essentially an ex-prisoner. But that's my druid. How do they work as a... Now, I can already imagine that the idea of prison druid, the circle of prison, is probably not what I want people to think about when I say the Condemned is my druid. I don't need people... I said that to another person, they're like, so they have a lot of prison-based abilities like Shank. I was like, no, that's not how they work. They don't just form a magical shank and stuff like that. But they do a lot of cool things, and there's a lot of cool ideas built around something you use in your game, Okami. A certain table of mutations.
I was thinking, when you share your, not your mutations, but basically same idea, like maybe I'll share the Verdant mutation tables. Same time.
Ooh, do some mutation on. Maybe that next show and tell. But this is the game, Okami. This is folks, everybody in the world, the universe, people out there watching this VOD. This is my game. It is, like I said, still in the works. I am working on this literally every day after work. This has literally become kind of like my weird little pet project. My partner probably wants to, I think she secretly just wants to choke me in my sleep when I'm like up in the middle of the night and just like rapidly typing stuff.
I was thinking, I don't know how many of you can see it, but if you're YouTube members, you can see the videos that have. I don't think you can see, if you're not a YouTube member. I don't think you can see the thumbnails before they come out. But one of the videos that I have coming out is another solo supplementals, and instead of doing a crazy thumbnail for it, which I said I was going to do, I just took a photo of the book on top of everything else that I was working on for D&D that day. So there's just like crap all over the table, and I was like, basically all of us DMs have that going on.
Yeah. I will be moving in the summer, and part of that will be establishing like office space for myself in my next place.
Oh, and you're so lucky.
I don't. Not a lot. No, it's like having my own room essentially, where I'm allowed to go do me things, like play video games, write tabletop stuff. It'll probably be also the place that I'll do face cam stuff from in the future too, because I'll have it set up to do
snaps
like that. Yeah. I know, craziness, right? But I was thinking about that, and I was just like, I don't know how to explain to someone what it's like when I start writing stuff, because I've just got dice here and like pencils and papers here. Like, I'm at work with another notebook that I just scribble stuff in all day. I'm just like, a good idea. Oh, what if I did this? And like the number of adventure journals and like adventure books I have, is crazy. Like, I have an entire book of just signs, symbols, sorceries, and ancient like design ideas. Why did I buy it for $3? I don't know. But did you know that the rat, for some superstitious people in Britain, they have links to the sea? And that the salmon is a sacred creature of the Celts?
I did not know any of that.
Yeah, I didn't either until I owned this book. He's so glad he had time to. I should be working. AWAS, I should be working. All right, I admit, AWAS, I really should be working. I admit. But sometimes I'm in meetings and they just start talking and droning, and I don't want to seem rude, so I scribble. But the scribbles just aren't meeting related. They think I'm taking desperate notes. They're like, ooh, look at him, really attentive. No one asked me for my notes after. I'm paying attention too. I'm just also deep in my mind crafting tabletop stuff. I happen to run a session this weekend, a 5e session, and I'm contemplating how I'm going to pretty much not destroy their. The party has requested a protection mission as their one shot.
Oh.
That I'm running this weekend. And I was like, okay, so you want to like escort mission? They're like, yeah. They're like, because they want combat puzzles. And I was like, okay, cool. So I've been working on this for about the better part of 2 weeks. And I've got a couple of ideas for combat puzzles, a lot of rogues jumping out. But I'll tell you guys, because none of those players will watch this, hopefully this week, if they actually remember. They do. If you're watching this and you're a player this weekend and you know my voice, go to bed. But if you're not, they're going to be protecting a child. That child is not a child. And that child is going to end up being a demon prince. There's going to be good reason why that child is under attack. I'm just saying. They're going to have to figure out whether or not this kid is good for the party or not.
My players, they're going to Waterdeep next session. They're like, everything that we could possibly need would be in Waterdeep, so we should just go to Waterdeep. And I'm like, all right, cool. And they're like, oh, our one player who's like, this should be her backstory type deal, where she's going to go see her family and get some information and what have you. She's like, okay, I'm going to make a list of all the kinds of stores that my character's going to go to. I don't want to take up too much time, so I'll just poll the rest of the players and see what kind of stores they want to go to. And I'm like, okay. But like, we both know they're not going to answer you. We both know they're not going to answer you. They're not going to prepare for this. And I'm like, and she's like, I mean, I think we'll have so much roleplay and other stuff to do that like we don't have to do all the shopping portions there. And I'm like, oh, you think you're gonna have all this free time?
That's cute. That's cute. They think they're gonna have free time.
And I want to be like, hey, you should go look up the stores where you can buy a parka because you're probably gonna need it. And I just want them to stew in it, but I also don't want to say
it. Cold day in hell.
But while we talk about our tales from the tables, we want to hear you guys, the audience's opinions on what you'd like to see next week. So, throwing the options for the poll up in the chat on YouTube. I'm going to do the first poll with the first 5 options on Twitch right now. Right meow.
Right
That
now.
one will run for 5 minutes, and we will continue to hang out and chat until then. But I won't. I didn't forget the poll. Don't worry. I got this next
We never
week.
forget the poll. And folks, if you have any cool ideas that you think we could add to the options list,
Oh, true.
or anything of your own personal opinion that you would like us to check out and give our honest opinion on here at the roundtable, feel free. We're happy to do it. And to anyone who actually saw this episode tonight, if you happen to glance through anything that I had put up on the screen when revealing my game, and you're interested in finding out more, feel free to hit me up at all times on the side. I exist in the Okamigakure. You can find me on most things that have my information involved in the bios below, because I do get back to people. I just
Yeah.
also exist in the ether.
We're there. Like, just because we do this on Mondays doesn't mean you can only talk to us on Mondays about D&D stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here. DM Shin's there. There's a bunch of the other DMs who are in Okamigakure who don't come to DM Roundtable, but like, they're there. No one will see this. Is that because it's giant dragon titties?
I mean,
Plenty of people will see it, I assure you.
yeah, I'm just saying, no wrong with it. Sometimes it's gotta happen.
Since we're talking about Waterdeep and Fist, you're here. But yes, be sure to ask. Wow. I almost said be sure to ask Grimjack about his game. That's not Grimjack. I just have Grimjack on the brain, but that's not what I'm thinking about at the moment. I just want to bring up that there are basically an X-Men team that is in existence in Waterdeep called Force Grey, aka the Grey Hands, and they are literally like the X-Men of Waterdeep. If bad stuff's going down and the town guards can't stop it, the groups can't stop it, then Force Grey gets called in.
The good old Force Grey. To me, my Force Grey.
They are so
I
powerful.
don't think their current leader says that. She just
I mean, she
up.
might. They're basically led by the top mage, so it is kind of like a Professor X type scenario.
It is.
But one of my favorite members of the Grey Hands is that one of them is a frost giant, but he doesn't shrink when he's in the city. So
oh my god.
They're like, can y'all go get him? And he's like, what? And he stomps through everybody's houses down streets to get to whatever needs to be killed.
I also love that they're in possession of one of the most powerful magical artifacts in human existence, in like D&D existence. Like they just own it. Like it's so powerful that in order to become the leader of the Force Grey, you essentially have to take its name. That's literally how it works.
Humongous Hungalo, my god, on the no of hug. Don't make my brain hurt when I'm thinking about such good things.
That's just an anime plot. Basically, this huge school goes with a huge some serious talking the real doctors packing some Badonkarino, Master Dome, Baka, what the Banka Honga. So many words. Also, I found out that frost giant's name, I think is that Harshnag?
Yep, that's Harshnag.
Nag the Grim. Yup. Not the homie.
Look at him chilling with his
Not the
normal
homie.
size compatriots.
Such oh, so big. No.
The city
Oh
guard
man.
uses him as an indicator that a neighborhood is about to become a war zone.
Hey, you might want to leave because some shit's going down. Oh, is that Harshnag? Nah, man, I ain't going there today. Imagine, imagine you're just there, like you're just hanging out somewhere, and you walk out of the tavern, and Harshnag just sitting on the wall. And you're just like, oh, come on, again, again. And he's like, sorry, man.
Fire giants. Oh man, I have so many things.
I personally would love to run a campaign of giants. I don't know why I've had this just desire to run the same race in a campaign. Like, but drop them where there's none of their race.
Ooh,
So,
I
like,
like that.
dwarves in the last dwarves waking up and having like a great war happens. Ooh, it just came to me. Boom. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, tell me
Great
yours.
war happens. And in the middle of the Great War, they attempt to forge a weapon in the name of Mirrodin that will end the war and turn the tide of battle, but it backfires and it eliminates all but the dwarves surrounding the weapon. The weapon uses all of its power to keep these dwarves alive. They wake up 400 years in the future. The world looks similar, but there's no more dwarves. They're the last dwarf. And now they got to survive. But how do they explain themselves? There's no more dwarven. Like everything will have upgraded. There'll be That will be the campaign where artificers and guns could exist because the gnomes took over. Now that the dwarves are gone, they'll let gnomes are like, it's time for us to really show what we can do.
Mm.
Boom.
Okay,
The
you
gnomes
guys
are
might be wondering why I was looking up Bard Song while he was talking about that, but
I was.
the Bard Song, I think this is the second expansion, question mark. But it's a board game that has like its own universe type
Uh-huh.
deal. But the idea of being Bard Sung is that uh, the gods left. They basically were like, hey, you guys can take care of yourselves. Go do what you want to do. And the way that magic propagates in the world is that people tell stories. And there's bards out there who are telling stories about what the gods did and what have you. So everyone gets magical power because like a belief is being propagated. So kind of the same idea in 5e where like if you're worshipped, if people believe in you, you get powers. But I think this is the second expansion and the first one is Kickstarter exclusive. Whatever. I brought up this specifically because these robots are dwarves. These are they knew a cataclysm was coming and they were like, how are we going to beat this? We got to make a way that we can survive even if our bodies die. And in canon, what happens is they fail, but they don't know that they failed. So like I think it's like 300 400 years later, they start powering on and they're like, "Oh my god, we did it. We won. We're just regular dwarves." And they found out one of their guys turned them all into robots. And slowly they're like, "I don't have skin. What's going on?"
That That's the stuff I like. Also, I read Dark Sun.
Oh yeah, Dark Sun. Yep. Got some hard sung
bring it back.
robots.
Just give me my Dark Sun.
I'm
Give it
actually
to me.
surprised they're not, but they are trying to push everything except Forgotten Realms right now.
They can't. I told you they'll never bring back Dark Sun. I've accepted that.
I'm sorry,
Just like
you
how I've
can't have what
accepted
you want.
Just like how I've accepted, they're probably never going to bring back the chicken selects. Yeah. When McDonald's decided, yo, you know, it'd be a crazy switch up for us using real chicken.
Oof.
I know. Even though I know I'll never get that joy and love and joy back in my heart, I can still dream.
Yeah.
I can still dream of ourselves.
We can all dream. Come back. I don't know if you guys
One
heard
day.
my pencil sharpener shoot off the table. No, come here, dude.
One day.
If for some reason you guys aren't up on how the polls work, there will be a poll running in our DM chat for 24 hours right after the stream ends, and you guys as a community also get a vote. And lately, since we've been putting these ones in Twitch, I have honestly been counting all of the votes that people have put into any poll, but normally it's whatever option gets the most votes gets filled into the poll. But lately I've been counting all of your votes that have gone into any poll. Looks like we only had one this time, so the poll vote is going to be for articles. But yeah, we got 1 week, 24 hours. The next one gets decided. Unfortunately, if you're on Twitch, you probably can't see what I'm going to put in until I change that. But on YouTube, you'll know immediately because I will have made the stream on there. Okay. I don't know if you know this story, Awaz, but when I used to stream for a couple years, I was streaming on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday, and there was another random streamer that didn't take me under her wing, but like I'd never interacted with her ever before, and she would retweet me every time I would tweet. She would always repost my stream and stuff, and I was like, I don't know who you are, but thank you. She's a little bit bigger than I am. I don't mean physically, I mean like stream wise. And so I was like, why does this person pick me up? And then I like went and looked at her page and her profile, and she was like, hi, I'm a Christian streamer. And I was like, I have no idea why she picked me up now. And for like a whole year, every time I would stream, this person would share my stream. And I was like, she must be like the nicest person ever. I went into her stream one time, and she was playing the Mr. Galleon game, so Sea of Thieves. She was playing Sea of Thieves, and she didn't say, she said maybe one word in the 20 or so minutes that I was watching her, which was super weird. And someone in the chat was like, hey, can you answer my question? And her mod left like a dissertation in response about how she doesn't have to answer your question. She's not obligated to speak to any of you. How dare you think you can come in here and talk to her while she's playing a game? And I was like, oh, this is not the person I thought was helping me out at all.
Yikes! Oh, okay. Dang. Talk about your escalation.
Like, what's happening in here?
Right? Like, is you good?
And I was like, I just left a comment in chat. I was like, thanks. And then they're so scary. I was like, thank you, I guess. And I like never interacted with her again. And she still kept sharing my streams for like a whole bunch of months. I think she finally gave up streaming, though. I do remember checking in on her a while after I had like given up streaming. Like serious business only.
Never give up.
Never blackdown.
Never backed off. You know that I have to. I'm obligated to say it. I feel like I should get paid by Gmon Monster every time I say that.
Oh, it's so good.
Also for remembering that he's in it. I feel like I should be paid for that.
I can't ever forget Gmon because my sister called him Digimon unironically for years.
Ooh.
So like I can't forget him. She really thought his name was Digimon. I was like, no, that's not a name.
Digimon Hansu. I hate life. I do. Then again, I also saw a seal as a seal in a Super Bowl commercial recently, and
I can't believe that he did that, but I'm here for it. He looks like he had a lot of fun. I was watching an interview. I was like, I'm sure you did. Also, hello, Doodle. What? I can't freaking read. What's wrong with me? I'm trying to figure out. My brain is now processing, like, what was that girl's name? What was her stream name? I know it was Bumble something. Obviously not Bumble Bailey, the artist. Oh, what is her name?
Wait, hold on. So just a friend, they started being very invasive.
Aragons? But what a weird choice.
Yeah, Aragon? Really?
That's an incredibly specific choice. When Omegle was still a thing, somebody hand wrote the entire plot to Degrassi to me one time. This is before Omegle had cameras, when it was just text chat. And I didn't know what Degrassi was. They were acting like they were telling the story from their perspective. And I sent it to another friend, and they were like, this is the plot to the TV show Degrassi. And I was like, you know what? I was riveted. Maybe I should watch that show.
I feel like being forced into the mod realm, like that happened to me. It's a Discord that I am a mod of, which is very few and far between, because why would you, why me? But the person for whom I moderate for, I don't know them personally like that. And quite honestly, they're never in their own Discord server. So it's really just me and 3 other people who have also been handed mod status, kind of occasionally popping in there to make sure that nobody's done anything outlandish, and to age check people every once in a while. Like, I get summoned in there, and I'm like, sup? And they're like, oh, it's you! And I'm like, hey. And then the person who actually owns the channel pops in there, and then everybody, like, blows up and glows happily, thinking they're going to get this cool chance to talk to them. And I think I've had, like, 5 conversations with them, and one of them was recent, and they were just like, hey, you like the mod thing? And I'm like, I mean, it doesn't. I was like, it's not really a problem. Like, don't really have to do much. They're like, cool. So I appreciate all your knowledge on modding. I have not done anything of great use.
That's my favorite.
I don't know what they've appreciated that I've done. But I'm glad I'm there to moderate their relatively inactive Discord. Like, it's not even relative. People talking there every day. It's just, I don't.
I feel so bad whenever people are like, "Hey, come to my Discord," and I'm like, "I'm gonna let you know now. I'm gonna come into your Discord, but I basically only talk in Okamigakure. Like, I don't have the mental bandwidth to talk in everybody's Discord." And like our friend Ace, he has a Discord that is actually popping. Like, he has a bunch of people who talk in there all the time, and he talks in our Discord
Yeah.
more than his own, which I think is hilarious.
No, it's true. No, it's true. Like I pop in there and I'm like, haha, hello.
I bet
How's
we
it
could
going?
use that. I'm not gonna lie.
And then I pop out. What's that?
I bet we could use that. I'm not gonna lie.
I-
Sorry, continue your story.
no, I was gonna say, pop into people's streams. I pop into people's discords and everything, but I can only do but so much. I think it's also because my own barrier for chats is just like I there's so many, and I'm like I don't know who to respond to first. Like especially now that I have a few people, I have like a few friends that only send me reels. Like you and I talk, but we also talk in reels.
Yeah.
Offline. But there's some people that we only talk in reels, and then they'll message me, and I'll be like, "Whoa, wait, we have normal conversation." Like, hello. Like I forget how to speak.
Whenever somebody
Can't
who
help
talks to me in Reels talks to me as a regular person, like with human conversation, I'm always like, "Are you okay? Is everything all right? Do you need help?"
Oh, is that like when I? Is that like when I post when I post one too many songs and you're like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Huh? I
Sometimes.
really enjoyed the selection of music." Though sometimes you're right. That's besides the point. But it definitely does throw me for a loop in to be thrown. I think AWA's here, especially in your situation where like you you had no connection, no reason to be thrown in there. It's just like congratulations, you've earned these quotes. It's like, huh? Huh? What? I didn't I didn't ask for this. See, I also talk in a lot of memes and shit posts. But that's the thing. When I have to speak in human, I my brain just says 404 errors get found, and I'm just like, I'm gonna talk.
Moonstone
We
Dragon.
can't have more moon dragons. We can't have more moon dragons. All right, the moon dragons are a little too
They're so pretty.
big.
I mean, the 2E1 is also like makes me think of. I was about to say Atreyu. That's the human. Falcor. Thank you. Makes me think of Falcor without the fur. But 5E making them green. I was like, interesting. Okay. Wait. Let me go here and open up Fizzbonds probably. Because the regular one doesn't have. Does it have the spell casting separately? No, of course not.
Why would it?
I cannot stand. Oh, they just have they've like 4 spells. Hell no. There used to be a whole class of magic that's just dragon magic. I have a there's a book for this. And now they're like, "Oh yeah, these dragons, these extremely magical creatures. They could cast like a spell a day. We don't need to give them magic. It's fine."
Like they're literally made of magic.
That
Their existence,
made of magic. Yes.
like their existence is magic. Like I don't get it. I don't.
Ooh, that's a good choice too.
I fail to understand how it's complicated. I really do. Then again, I don't complicate anything.
It popped up adult Moonstone Dragon. Hold on, I gotta pop up. So my players, they've been dealing with a black dragon lately, and one of the black dragon's lair actions is he basically throws garbage on you, and even though he's an adult, he's huge. Oh, of course, you're opening up the new one. I don't care about that. Blah blah blah. Is it not here? No, it's in the. Oh, here we go. What is it called? It must be in Fizzbonds. This is not the right thingy. But one of his things is he basically makes a tornado of garbage. And even though they know that this is not a wormling or a young dragon, this is like a full-on dragon. The lair action does 2d6 damage. And now my players think that they can take a dragon because the lair action is 2d6. And I'm like, I believe you are woefully unprepared to fight a dragon just because its lair action is written like garbage.
No. You see, you're going about it all wrong. Let them fight the dragon. Let them foolishly cascade themselves into death.
Where are you?
I need this to happen. I need that.
Everyone wants my players to die. That's the funniest
I don't
part.
want them to die. I just want their survival chances to be thoroughly limited due to their own decision making.
Here we go. Where is it? I forgot what it's called. It's not called garbage, but it's garbage. What are you called? It has a stupid name. Filth Burst. That's what it's called. Oh, sorry. 3d6. Still garbage. You make a typhoon of nastiness. They're gonna watch this and be like, "Man, I'll still take them." No, you won't. I assure you, you will not. In his lair, you will lose. Actually, it's an ancient one. It's not that one. He's plant growth instead. They have taken an insect plague, and it almost killed 3 of them from a drow way back when. It was their suicide attack rather than be taken prisoner. They just cast an insect plague on themselves. I thought it was pretty cool, but my players were like, "We almost died!" And they were all still in character, and I was like, "I'm doing a good job." Yeah, send a message. But yeah, I already put the community vote in. You guys have 1 vote for articles. We got to put in our votes. But hopefully, DM Lacara will have power before next week. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret, a little bit ahead of everybody else. But the last episode of my Let's Play for the Lost Golem comes out tomorrow. Then I'm going to take a week break. And then I'm going to be streaming the next Let's Play on Tuesdays. So it'll be at the same time as DM Roundtable, but Tuesday. But stream streamed Let's Plays is coming back because it's a game that it's a sequel to a game that I streamed on Twitch. So I feel like it's only fair that I continue by streaming it, and I'll be dual streaming it on YouTube and Twitch.
Well, I'll be there to pop in
Hell
for
yeah.
your first time back on the stream Let's Play to harass you thoroughly.
You
And
too can join me.
Make you say funny things for $1.
I hope there's going to be lots of funny things. Again, I'll give you guys a clue. I'll be playing Oops All Lesbians too.
Oh yes, yes.
Oops.
Oh, oops, all lesbians too. Oh, completely off topic, but somebody sent me a Magic the Gathering themed reel, and apparently people have been losing it over one of the new cards, Sabsunin, Luxa Embodied, which is if you haven't looked at it, it's a thick ass frog. Like,
Oh
the
no.
frog is thick. No. If you look at the card, you'll be like, oh, no, that's a thick ass frog. But they said the only card that they'd ever force someone to put in that deck would be Thickest in the Thicket. And I was just like, man, I want to build a deck now with Thickest in the Thicket. This is the commander, and nothing but thick cards. Just everything in there thick. But I want a custom-made card. I need a werewolf card, but I need it to be our favorite Yeeks.
Oh yeah. He's gonna be so mad when I start playing Oops All Lesbians because he insists that none of the characters are lesbians, and me and Oxford comma / Heather are like, bro, I don't care who she ends up with. Like, look at any interaction she has with another girl in this game. Everybody's a lesbian.
Yeah, for real. Like, everyone.
Ooh, but the moon haunts you. Oh, related. This month's thank you stream, like last month, I went through and added some more songs to the D&D music overhaul list, which is one of the things you get access to if you become a YouTube member or a patron on Patreon. But this month I'm gonna play Marvel Rivals, hopefully with some of y'all, because it is free to play. So just hit me up when I'm streaming, and I'll scroll the names of all the donators and patrons and members and stuff while we're playing, and hopefully we have some fun. I think that's scheduled for, is it this Sunday? Is this the last Sunday in February? Yeah, that'll be this Sunday.
Yeah.
So come on and join. Come on and play. Let's murder. And yeah, Friday, Human Torch and Thing come out, so we'll be playing them too.
Stay excited for all the cool things that are going to happen on the channel. And folks, like I say all the time, I'm always happy to be here to help out Okami with everything he does. You'll often find me pop up, DM Lacara, and the rest of us that all appear on this channel. If you haven't, like, comment, subscribe to either YouTube or the Patreon or the Twitch, wherever you're observing this. Press all the buttons, check out the red bubble, and help Okami keep cranking out this good content, because it's a good job. And I don't just say that because I'm his friend.
Oh, you do a good job.
He actually does a good job.
I couldn't do it without you guys.
I just show up. My job is to show up.
There is also
I show up and just bring a side commentary.
It's not this. One of the other things you get access to that I'm sure no one else has ever used is my upload schedule. It's one of the things you get access to, so you can tell. But this also helps me. I needed this to figure out what I was uploading. I think, yeah, Monday, there's a solo supplementals coming out on when you said before that you got help from Exo Clubs, I was like, yo, he's about to be famous whether he likes it or not, because the book that I'm going over on Monday's episode is, oh, sorry, 2 Mondays from now. I can read this. We're in this week. Is a book that he gave me when he just gave away all his physical books for 5e because he was like, I don't like 5e. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, I'm gonna give away all my stuff. And I was like, wait, what? And he gave away so many books, so I'm going over one of the supplement books that he had. There are so many more of them too.
I have so many books from him. So when he just decided to liquidate 5e.
Yep.
And when he decided to liquidate books in general.
Yeah.
He handed me a bunch. He was like, I think you'll like this. And he was right. He was absolutely right. He knows me well. That's certainly why he's my friend. But I was like, it makes sense. But he's also introduced me to a lot of dope other TTRPGs. And quite honestly, without his assistance, I don't think I would have been able to even do half the stuff I've done as a DM or a GM. So shout out to Clubs, because inadvertently, I think he kind of kickstarted both of us on our DM journeys.
He definitely helped at the beginning. Yeah. And not even like, we don't mean like he sat there and mentored us, but like he taught us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess
he's one of those people that was very happy to show. He was very happy to show like the process. And he's a person that I hope we can definitely get on here one day.
Yeah. I'm hoping that he'll come on whenever we do something that's system agnostic. Just like, hey, you want to look at this? And he'll be like, yeah. And it definitely makes him feel better that we have timing down better. Minus the fact that we're an hour over our regular time, but we finished what we needed to talk about already.
Yeah, we did that a long time ago. We really just been shooting shit tonight.
Yeah.
I guess you could technically clip it at the end of my segment, and then this could be after talk, right?
Yep. I'm going to put this probably on the YouTube version with the VODs. This will probably pop up as within the chapters. This will probably be like outro chatting. But I do have timestamps for after you were done. We did Tales from the Tables for a little bit. So there will be some timestamps. I think I'm also going to break yours down into like game ideas versus character sheet.
That's fair.
Chapters wise. That way it'll help people who just want to watch the VOD and want to do some other stuff. But yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not. I will make sure to hit publish on Twitch in case people want to watch the VOD on Twitch. After 2 weeks, it does get deleted automatically, but on YouTube, the VOD is always there if you feel like you missed something. And there's a handy dandy playlist on YouTube so you can figure out what we've done in order. Yeah, I will.
Which is a lot.
Yeah, we're almost a year in. I think we figured out. I think we figured out we're like 9 months in. We just had a baby because I think we started in August.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure, but I think we started in August.
We would have to scroll to the beginning. It would be like the first time we went. When was the Empowered last August?
Let's find out. When did we start?
No way. Ain't no way the Empowered last August.
You guys can see all this stuff, but you're not getting any crazy information, so it doesn't matter. Don't worry. You can't like steal my stream info and what have you. I actually was watching a VOD of a guy that I used to follow for doing. Oh no, we started in March. Not. Why did I think August? I don't know what August. I started something in August, but it wasn't this. We started in March. We are almost a year in. We're like 11 months in.
Wait, no way. Really?
That's crazy. That's so
Holy
crazy.
crap,
Almost a
Marky.
year. I left Racky on the subscribe raccoon on the screen. Sorry about that. Almost a year of DM Roundtable. We're doing it.
Holy crap. I feel like we have March 18th, huh?
Yeah.
Hold on now.
I think we have to have
I feel like
a DM
like
Roundtable anniversary or something. Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
Wait, hold on. When is the? Hold on. I gotta do some plotting and planning here. So scooting and skirting. Hold up.
I think this means I got to start
Okay,
getting to
so the
work on all
date.
the stuff I said I was going to do in videos and add to the Patreon for March. My God. I got to do something.
Yeah. So our stream would be the 17th, technically, which is St. Patty's Day. Maybe. Let's see. Let's see what we can cook up in what, like 3 weeks,
Hmm.
4, like 3 to 4 weeks. Well, no, it would be today's the what? The 17th. Literally a month from now.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Literally, it literally. This is our 11th month. Today would be well, tomorrow technically marks our 11th month. So congratulations on this being 11 months old.
Oh my God.
Next month
This is so.
is stream anniversary.
Man. I love everybody, man. This is awesome.
Look at that. The stream anniversary coming up. Yeah, you, we should look at the empowered again quickly. Do we still like it?
Oh, you
Remember
know
a year
what?
ago we were
You know what? That's a great idea. We pester all the other DMs in the round table and say, you have to show up to this stream. And we're going to talk about what you
one
liked
year.
and didn't like about the last year.
Look,
We're going to bother the shit out of everybody in that chat.
oh god, I love it already.
Oh, this is
Hey,
fantastic.
hey, what are you doing? You ain't doing shit for showing up to the stream. It's the year anniversary. You better be here. Gotta get party hats and shit.
Oh my God.
Can we get party hat Racky? I feel like we need to. I feel like we need to get a party hat Racky for the 1 year.
Oh my God. I love everything about this. This is fantastic. Okay, we're going to work
Well,
on that in
even
the background. For sure.
yeah.
Something will be done.
If you couldn't tell already, we're giddy like
Ooh.
beyond belief at this point, which is really just who we are, giddy people.
Okay, so
Wow.
put in your votes if you haven't yet. You can leave them. If you didn't put them in the Twitch poll and you're on YouTube, you could tweet them at me, or you can come into the Discord and talk about them. Leave your poll results. But 24 hours from now, we will decide what the next week's poll is. That one's out, ready to go. I will actually. My next stream is Sunday, right? Did we just decide that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunday, I'll be back for the Marvel Rivals stream. And thank you. And hopefully playing with some viewers. I'll be scrolling your names across the screen while we play. And yeah, come and join us. And then Monday, we'll see you for the next stream. Okay. Bye, everyone. This is awesome. We're almost a year in. Ah! Okay. I'm going to kill Twitch. Bye, everyone. Thank you. This was amazing. And now bye, YouTube. I will no longer be live.
Yeah,
That is